hate him.
What the fuck? Send that to me. Is that in contest suggestions? Stream, whatever. Alright, hold on. We've gone live. We've gone live. See if anybody shows up. See if anybody shows up.
Let's see if I can wake up in time to be useful.
Alrighty.
So I got this in topics.
Hold on. We gotta start with a nice song. You can't just go right into it. Alright, here we go.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? My daddy was a miner, and I'm a miner's son. He'll be with you, fellow workers, until this battle's won. Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Sing it! Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, workers, can you stand it? Tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab, or will you be a man? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Come, all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell. Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, guys. Alright, wow, this is going into something that's... And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Labor Day edition of Central Committee. I'm joined, as always, with Kentucky Fried Comrade and our friend Space Ghost. Thank you, guys.
Hey everyone.
How are you guys feeling? Strong. Let's start off with
labor strong.
I'm feeling the Labor Day stuff. And this reminds me of the Matt Wayne Union speech. This is a documentary. Dramatic about some of the stuff that went on to found the labor movement and give you today off. Hopefully you're off today. If you're not, your boss is a piece of shit. But here we go. Let's watch this and enjoy as people start trickling in.
And I can't help that the way white folks is, but I ain't never been called no scab. And I ain't fixing to start up now. I go ton for ton loading coal with any man here. When I do, I expect the same dollar for the same work.
You get out of this holler alive, son, you'll be doing good for yourself.
Union men, my ass. You want to be treated like men? You want to be treated fair?
By the way, this is what a man is, JLP.
Well, you ain't men to that coal company. Your equipment, like a shovel, a gondola car, a hunk of wood brace. They'll use you till you wear out or you break down or you're buried under a slate fall, and then they'll get a new one. And they don't care what color it is or where it comes from. It doesn't matter how much coal you can load or how long your family has lived on this land. If you stand alone, you're just so much shit to those people. You think this man is your enemy? Huh? This is a worker. Any union keeps this man out ain't a union. It's a goddamn club. Now they got you fighting white against colored, native against foreign, holler against holler. When you know there ain't but two sides of this world. Them that work and them that don't. You work. They don't. That's all you got to know about the enemy. You say you got guns. Well, I know that you all are brave men. And I know you could shoot it out with the company if you had to. But the coal company don't want this union. The state government don't want it. The federal government don't want it. And they're all of them just waiting for an excuse to come down and crush us to nothing. Fellas, we're in a hole full of coal gas here. The tiniest spark at the wrong time is going to be the end of us. So we got to pick away at this situation, slow and careful. We got to organize and build support. We got to work together, till they can't get their coal out of the ground without us, because we're a union. Because we're the workers, damn it, and we take care of each other.
How can we shut the mines down if we don't dynamite them?
The men walk out. All of them.
Fat chance.
Shut up, Destiny.
And every man that walks out on his own steam, we take into the union.
All the Dagos and all the colors?
That's what a union is, fellas. You better get used to it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful movie, Mattawayne. Let's talk more about, I know this may be cliche, but I find in our generation there's a fundamental lack of knowledge about what happened in this country, why we have Labor Day, why we have a weekend. And so it could be useful to go back and talk about these.
Well, it's one of those things, again, people don't know much about it. We have one of the bloodiest labor histories in the modern world. It's horrific to go look back at some of the massacres and hangings and things of that nature that were done.
Like, everybody knows the Hatfields and the McCoys. But do you know what that feud was about? How come we know of the feud, but not what the feud was about? That's the disgusting part of our country. So let's watch some video from our friends over at Means TV. Great content creators. Really recommend you check out some of their stuff. And they talk about company towns.
So we're in Seco, Kentucky. Behind us here is the Southeast Coal Company store. And the company store was, back in the day, everything you ate, every piece of furniture you bought for your house, whatever the case may be, was bought here using the company currency, which we called Scrip. And a lot of people think that this is something that's, far in the distant past, but my granddad was paid in company money until the 70s. Let's say you're a boss. If you create your own currency, obviously you can keep more of your real US dollars in your pocket because you're not paying your workers.
And it's also a really effective means of social control. If you make your employees dependent on the company in every way, whether it's their mortgages, their wages, the things that they buy from the store, then you have a more effective way of controlling every single aspect of their lives. And then you've made really complacent, obedient workers. And that's what every boss wants.
A lot of companies are trying to do this. Amazon, Amazon will offer their employees benefits in Amazon gift cards, for example.
Amazon and all these companies now, they do the exact same thing for the exact same reason. They want you to be alienated. The more that they can make you dependent on the company itself, that serves that purpose.
If you're in the United States, wealth is built generationally, typically. People around here didn't really have the opportunity to do that because they weren't participating in the real world economy. They were paid in fake money. They couldn't use that money to max out their retirement vehicles or their Roth IRAs or whatever the case may be to leave anything for the people after they died. And so what happens is you get locked into this sort of vicious cycle of generational poverty. And we're still experiencing that here.
So think about today. You probably get your health care.
But there's just something about white people from Kentucky that makes them poor. I think it might be genetic. There's something within, white Kentuckians that really makes them poor, guys. It must be genetic.
Through your employer. That's a very
Generations of all that
advantageous
juice.
system.
It's you know what? It's a good thing that they all have white skin, so we could just and they have that accent, so we could look at someone from Kentucky and we instantly know, hey, that's a poor person.
For your boss and for your employer. It makes you more dependent on them. It makes it harder for you to go take your labor somewhere else and sell it elsewhere. Well, that legacy began in places like the one behind us here.
And historically, Appalachia, communities like this have been sort of the proving ground for what bosses, employers can get away with.
I mean, this is tomorrow's people, man. It's everything that you want to see happening in the
By the way, the bleach stain on the shoulder is fucking on brand.
next 20 or 30 years. That's right here.
Having here first, baby.
So don't be surprised if Mark Zuckerberg starts trying to pay his employees in Facebook bucks, because it's something that we've seen before.
And don't take out that fucking Apple credit card.
I'm Terrence.
I'm Tom.
We're the Trillbillies.
You're watching Means TV.
Beautiful. Let's watch.
Now, when they say Facebook bucks, are they talking about the actual cryptocurrency that Facebook's trying to roll?
Yeah, the Facebook. Oh, no. That is such a good point, Space Ghost. Is a lot of these Silicon Valley companies are trying to create their own cryptocurrency that they can pay their employees in. Or, as they noted, the Amazon gift cards. Oh, we'll just credit your Amazon account. We'll just credit your Amazon account. Now, that gives us the ability to unilaterally cancel your account, ban you from the service, and take all the money you have in there. But you agreed to it. That was a contract that we mutually agreed to as equal bargaining partners, right? Amazon was on this side of the conference table, and you and all your attorneys were on the other side, and you two battled it out, and you came to the contract where you agreed to accept that company script. That's the fantasy of capitalism.
Union representation.
I mean, why would you want to shop
I'm
anywhere
talking
else
about-
anyway? It's so convenient.
Well, you could even you could do the fulfillment for your own stuff. It's great. It's really efficient. It's almost like you're going to the grocery store with real money. You can pick your own stuff you buy with your own money. It's great.
About the Teamsters.
Well, let's watch some anti-union propaganda.
Hello.
I'm Doug.
And I'm Maria. Glad I could help.
If you, by the way, if you appear or produce any of these anti-union videos, you are forever a scab. So if someone offers you money to participate in these, you have a moral duty to say, fuck you.
The Teamsters. Now you've heard their big talk,
Is my chat box
talk, and their golden
froze
promises.
again?
I could tell you
Yeah,
documented stories that would
It's
make your hair stand
forever
on end,
broken.
but I'm not going to do that. No.
We're a target because we're a threat to unions.
When we take business away from unionized grocery stores, that means they need fewer employees.
That's a problem for the union business. That's right. I said business. Union business. Union business. I said business.
Business. This place is special to us.
We think you'll help us achieve our vision of being the best company ever. Union representation is not in their best interest.
Let us do the thinking and speaking and decision making for you and your families. We know what's best. Now, I don't believe for a minute that you have such a low opinion of yourself. How could you? You're true blue.
There's nothing we can't solve by working together.
Do I sound opinionated? Well, you're darn right I do.
A positive and rewarding experience. 1 out of every 3 workers was in a union. Today, that number less than 1 in 10.
One of the biggest reasons is that workers know that all the good things unions once did, child safety laws, workman's comp, they're all laws today. They were passed a long time ago.
Hot dogs and hamburgers. Should be steak. We ought to be celebrating.
You're celebrating.
Thursday, man. We get the association. Couple months. Money's gonna be rolling in.
You think so?
Damn straight.
I don't think that your little union is going to be winning on Thursday.
Jeez, man.
It's like you say. I said business. Damn straight.
That's not fun.
There's plenty of these Jersey tomatoes that go on the burgers.
Hey, where's the guy?
Out back. Here, take these with you.
Sure. For a cold one.
No retail company that offers more advancement and job security than Walmart. Here I am, a Walmart shareholder. I'm not the only one.
It's true. We don't think that a labor union is necessary here. And because our associates have said time after time that they don't want a union, we usually don't spend a lot of time talking about them.
So, what's this?
You know, it's the tape that the company sent about the union elections.
We got one. Steve tossed it in the trash. Steve says it's a bunch of company BS.
No, and you need to see what's on this tape.
At competitive prices, we've got the best guest service in the business.
Business.
And that means staying at peak performance. There's something going on that could drastically affect your performance.
Grow the business together without the interference of a union. Trying to divide us is contrary to our company philosophy.
You wanted me to see this?
Just keep watching.
This is company BS.
Here's the answer.
Money, Mike. Big bucks.
Yeah, Steve thinks that association is going to make him a frickin' Donald Trump.
I want to watch
it's
just
kind
the
of
real
amazing when you
videos,
think
not
about
the
it.
editing.
Somehow it all works. I guess that's...
No, you don't. You really don't want to watch bland corporate
They're
propaganda.
painfully boring.
They're fucking boring, and they're... I mean, do you like being lied to and manipulated? I mean, if that's what you're into, I can do it for you. Like, send me a dono and a time where you want to be lied to, and I'll give you a one-on-one where I do nothing but lie to you and take your money.
That's what our founders
Put
had
an
in mind
article
from
in
the
our topics chat that's pretty relevant.
Oh, I know. This fucking dog shit app, man. It's fucking killing me, man. It truly is. I know the chat's gone. I'm sorry, guys. I can see it.
start. I don't get it. How would it make sense for associates to join any union that wants to damage our reputation?
I don't like handing my signature over to anyone, much less to unions who seem to be spending so much time trying to hurt my company.
You thinking about selling your route?
What do you mean?
I heard you were talking about selling.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is guys like you stirring all this up. So then win or lose on the 30th, you get out and leave the rest of us hanging.
Okay, look.
We've got a great thing going here. Great benefits, job security, career opportunity.
Our philosophy is simple. We are pro-associate.
Mike subs should unionize for better sub benefits. No, you don't want to do that. I've got your best interest at heart, guys. I've got all your best interests at heart. Just give me your money.
Everyone storm the chat box. We can take Mike down.
Guys, I have your best interests at heart. Here at the Central Committee, we care about our subscribers, and we are here to serve you.
Twitch streamer BS. Don't believe him.
We are here to serve you. Let's talk a little bit about the labor movement, what socialism, scary socialism, meant for the benefits that you enjoy today. And by the way, did you notice there was one thing in those videos, before we go on to the Eugene Debs stuff? By the way, this is fucking copyrighted Mike from PA. My WoW character on the server Thanos in World of Warcraft Classic, his name is Eugene Debs. Come join me. Obviously, we're Horde. We went green this time.
That's Praxis.
All right. Anyway.
So we're doing a card check in the chat right now. Press Y to join the stream your union.
Stream the union. Oh, it looks like we've got a new week for the bits. Oh wow, Mattman claimed number 1 with 5 bits. Wow. I declare that this card check is not valid under the National Labor Relations Act. You guys did not properly organize or recognize the union.
Mike, if the commenters were to go on strike, would you put on your walking shoes and march with them?
I would absolutely do that. I would join you guys on the picket line.
We're a family here. We know that you share our vision to be the best stream ever.
Oh yeah, going back to my first.
We've got a good thing going.
They said like all those things the unions did, they're now laws. You don't need unions anymore. Those are all laws now.
Triumph for capitalism.
One of the things they said, Colin dropping 1,000
Colin
bits.
could divide somebody else being in the lead.
Colin just stealing the lead with 1,000 bits, dropping it right in.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, buddy. That makes my stream almost a living wage so far. Great. Racism and over. It's in the laws, Mike. Well, the thing is, there's an association that's formed that wants workers' comp reform. One of the things they want to do is they want to put what they call a formulary in charge of the workers' comp system. In other words, a death panel for workers on workers' comp who are suffering injury. The companies don't want to pay the expensive prescription drugs, so they want to set up a death panel. This is fucking real. That will ignore the recommendations of what your doctor says you need and will give you other drugs. And that is one of the reforms of the workman's comp system that capitalists are looking to do. By the way, workman's comp, workman's comp is an alternative to you suing your employer in court. The workman's comp is actually a pro-business law. It preempts you from suing your employer in court for torts they commit against you. You have to go through the workman's comp system. So they've already been carved out with a subsidy for all the injured workers. It's cheaper for business right now than it otherwise would be prior to this system. So these scumbag companies are, we don't need a union because we got workers' comp now. At the same time, they're funding organizations to get rid of and heavily modify the benefits of workman's comp. Okay, MAGA Chuck Cuckold says, read Mein Kampf. Okay, buddy.
They said before you need to reset your, somebody said you need to reset your, Colin, new month, new sub goal, reset.
Oh, new month, new sub goal. Oh, that's a really good point. Okay. Wow. I guess he just wanted to troll for a while. That's right. That's a good point. It is a new month. It is a new month. All right. New month. What should we do for the sub goal?
I say shoot for 7.
I'm gonna do 500 again.
420.
How many? What do we got? 420. No, we need to do 500 because that is actually apparently something I was told is if you can maintain 500 subscriptions, it really accelerates your partnership status. Apparently, I don't know. Don't ask me about this shit. It's just.
How about something more seasonal, like 9/11?
No. No.
Mike doesn't have holiday spirit.
All right, now that's at a flat 0. Is it still broken? Oh my fucking god.
I don't get why people are so weird about celebrating Bashir al-Assad's birthday. Like, what's wrong with that?
You know, a lot of people are attacking Bashar al-Assad just because he appeared in a video with Tulsi Gabbard, but it's not like they're best friends.
Listen.
It's a solemn remembrance of that
Boom.
fateful day in New York.
We did it.
Where we
did
all
it,
witnessed the collapse of Hillary Clinton.
All right.
Here's a little fun fact for everybody. This is an absolutely true fact. You can look this up. I believe it was Nickelback's first album came out September 11th, 2001.
Major, Mr. Mag over here, he says, Happy Fake Labor Day. And that's a really important point that we should all talk about for a second is Labor Day is May 1st. And in the United States, we celebrate it the first Monday in September for a reason. And we will talk about that later. So good point. But all Labor Days should be celebrated, even the ones that are set up as fake alternatives, because this is an opportunity for all of us to come together, pull together, and show solidarity to one another. All right. Let's watch about Eugene Debs.
And today in Congress, United States Senator
Sorry,
Bernie
it was
Sanders
Nickelback's
of
third
Vermont
studio
is
album,
a
Silver Side
socialist,
Up.
and we talked to him about Debs's legacy. Let's listen to a bit of what he had to say.
A lot of the ideas that he advocated, talked about when people get old, there should be a social insurance for them. There should be retirement benefits for them. Well, that's what we call Social Security today. And amazingly enough, in the year 2011, there are those same people who hated Debs when he was alive who now want to destroy Social Security. And he believed that health care was a right of all people. That battle continues today. But I think it is fair to say that many of the huge advances made during the 30s under President Roosevelt, the Great Society under Lyndon Johnson, and throughout, those were ideas that people like Debs probably brought to the attention. It was the first person to bring to the attention of millions of working people.
And Lisa Phillips, let me ask you to add your perspectives to the America that he saw and was dissatisfied with, and ultimately whether or not.
All right, we got the Bernie takes about how socialism is good. What are your thoughts on Israel and Lebanon exchanging fire? I haven't looked into it, but if it's a continuation of Israel's doing like raids all over the Middle East right now, they feel emboldened by the support of the United States to commit illegal acts of aggression. Yeah. Why don't we... I found this cute little documentary on YouTube, and you know what? It was really interesting to me. So let's watch it because it has some real fun tidbits. The Battle of Blair Mountain.
World War I ushered in an increased demand for coal. Coal production rose from 111 million tons in 1890 to 579 million tons by 1918. During the war, the total number of employed miners rose from 561,000 to 615,000. However, this growth was not to last. The demand for coal at the end of the war dropped nearly 60%, with the loss of munitions markets in Europe. Competition from alternate fuel sources and the improved utilization of coal due to new technologies further harmed the industry. This was in stark contrast to the norm during the Roaring Twenties, with the majority of industries experiencing growth. Burdened with massive surpluses, the coal companies began to cut wages, further aggravating tensions between the miners and the operators.
Oh, sorry about that.
The many labor uprisings of the early 1900s and the Battle of Blair Mountain, which was the largest of its kind, served to reform the way the government viewed unions' rights.
Boom, how's
The
that?
operator-miner dispute originated from a feudalistic system of brutality and exploitation. One of the most important parts of this system was the payment of miners in scrip, a monetary system only accepted at the company-owned store. Another type of scrip called esau, for the wives of miners. If her husband was injured and couldn't work or in debt, she could borrow esau. If, however, she was unable to pay it back, she was forced into sexual servitude. The operators' tactics were not limited to these two forms of scrip. The owners also used their own private security force to prevent unionization, planted spies to root out union miners, and even constructed their own company courthouses. Everything the operators did, right down to the design of the company store, was meant to keep the miners in check.
Arrogant and insolent gentlemen do not hesitate to suborn public officials in their communities, to police their communities with privately hired and armed gunmen, to evict our people from their homes, to cut off food supplies for our people and leave them to their mercy, to cut off water and electric light, and to cut off medical attention. And apparently, we have plenty of aid to give stricken peoples anywhere in the world except in the mining regions of this country.
May 19th, 1920, 13 Baldwin Felts detectives arrived in the town of Matewan in Mingo County along the Kentucky-West Virginia border. The Baldwin Felts Detective Agency regularly supplied the mine operators with men who served as mine guards, rapists, and all-around hired thugs, much like their Pinkerton doubles to the north. These particular agents were here to serve eviction notices. They set to work clearing the miners' cabins, hauling out their furniture and piling it in the streets. The miners and their families were powerless to stop them. After illegally evicting the miners, the agents returned to town, where Sid Hatfield, the chief of police, and the mayor of Mountain, Cable Testerman, confronted the agents. Sid Hatfield told them they were under arrest. Albert Felts, the leader of the eviction gang, countered with a claim that he had a warrant for Sid's arrest. Testerman asked to see the warrant, and after studying it, he declared, "It's bogus." Albert Felts said nothing, but continued to smile as he drew his pistol. Accounts vary at this point, and it is unclear who fired first. Some claim Sid Hatfield shot both Albert and the mayor from the porch of the hardware store. Others claim that Felts shot the mayor and Sid shot him. However, everyone agreed that Mayor Testerman and Albert Felts were the first to fall. In the chaos that ensued, 10 people were killed and 4 wounded. Out of the dead, 7 were Baldwin Felts agents, and 3, including the mayor, were citizens of Mountain. The trial of the massacre was closely followed by many West Virginia newspapers, and in the months following, Sid Hatfield became the embodiment of the Union struggle. In July of 1921, Sid Hatfield was charged with blowing up a coal tipple in Mohawk. His court appearance was set for the 1st of August in McDowell County. McDowell was a coal company stronghold, and Hatfield made his misgivings about going perfectly clear. On his behalf, the Union leaders of District 17, Ed Mooney and Frank Keeney, dictated a letter to County Judge Strother, who was set to preside over Hatfield's trial, outlining Hatfield's fears. Awaiting his arrival at the McDowell County Courthouse were 3 Baldwin Felts agents: Charles E. Lively, a Baldwin Felts spy, Bill Saltier, a survivor of the Mountain Massacre, and George Pence, whose motto was, "Shoot him with one gun and hand him another." When Hatfield reached the top of the steps, the 3 men opened fire, killing Hatfield. The next day, over 2,000 people turned out for Sid's funeral, and 2,000 Union men from Huntington put down their tools for an hour out of respect. Miners were angry, and some began to arm themselves, specifically after choice statements by the sheriff
the captions
of
are stupid,
corroborating
sorry.
the agent's claim of self-defense. Keeney and Mooney counseled the miners to be patient and delivered a petition to Governor Morgan. However, miners continued to rise up, some at the behest of Mother Jones, a famed labor orator who delivered an aggressive speech in front of the Union headquarters. Mother Jones helped lead many strikes, including what became known as the Ludlow Massacre in 1914. Soon groups of armed miners began to patrol the roads. Logan County Sheriff Don Chaffin, a staunch supporter of the operators, soon grew nervous and called for the state guard. On August 12th, tensions mounted after one trooper accidentally rode his horse into a parked car. The troopers, no doubt feeling foolish, viciously attacked the owner. A group of armed miners then shot up a car they mistook for a police vehicle when they attempted to take their revenge. When an actual state police car arrived, the miners pulled the officers from their car, took away their weapons, and chased them home. The next week, on August 17th, Governor Morgan flatly rejected the petition, and that, in addition to rumors claiming that Chaffin and Felt's agents were accosting Union miners and their families in Logan County, was enough to start the battle. Soon enough, miners were on the march. Estimates placed their numbers at anywhere from 4,000 to 9,000 and beyond. In response, Sheriff Chaffin mustered up a defending force of about 900 to 1,200. Miners hijacked trains, raided stores for arms and munitions, and by August 29th, the battle was in full swing. Although outnumbered, Chaffin's army had the higher ground and better weaponry, including planes armed with homemade bombs and several machine guns. The miners and the defenders engaged in sporadic fighting for 4 days, and at one point the miners almost broke through to the town of Logan. Most of the fighting occurred in 4 locations: Beech Creek, Blair Mountain, Crooked Creek, and Mill Creek. Governor Morgan became increasingly desperate in his pleas for federal support. However, it wasn't until September 2nd that his pleas were answered. Upon the arrival of federal troops, miners were enthusiastic, assuming the troops would support them. However, the troops did not take sides, and in lieu of fighting the military, which many miners were unwilling to do, miners laid down their arms and retired from the field of battle. Casualty figures have no clear number, with estimates between 60 and 130 dead, most of which were miners. 985 miners were later convicted of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, or accessory to murder. The battle resulted in a massive drop in UMWA membership. In West Virginia alone, membership dropped from 50,000 to a couple hundred. Nationally, membership dropped from 600,000 to 100,000 by the end of the decade. After the battle, miners were forced to sign contracts for tonnage rates far below the pre-war levels, in part due to the public backlash caused by the company's portrayal of the unions and their members as communists. In the long run, the battle was a victory for the Union because it resulted in an increased awareness for the plight of miners and their unions. The Battle of Blair Mountain and the events surrounding it led to the first ever Senate hearings into the conditions laborers were subjected to, and it helped teach the government that it had the authority to regulate and investigate working conditions. Under the Roosevelt administration, the government first addressed these issues with the passing of many bills as part of the New Deal in order to combat the Great Depression. The first major bill to address these issues was the National Industrial Recovery Act, or NIRA, in 1933. It gave unions collective bargaining rights and permitted the regulation of working conditions by the government. NIRA was ineffective, as it gave major companies control over regulation within their respective industries. The 7A clause, which established the right of workers to unionize, was misconstrued to allow companies to create unions which fit the requirement. Soon enough, during Shetter versus United States in 1935, it was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. However, Senator Robert Wagner managed to pass the successor to NIRA later that same year. The new bill was known as the National Labor Relations Act, more informally known as the Wagner Act. The Wagner Act did 3 things. It outlawed unfair labor practices of employers, including firing workers for union activity. It allowed employees to choose representatives, and it established the National Labor Relations Board, which enforced the act. When the Wagner Act went before the Supreme Court in 1937, it was declared constitutionally valid. Much of the reformation outlined in these bills was inspired by a series of hearings that had started earlier that year and would extend into 1940. This series of hearings was the largest investigation into working conditions and workers' rights to date, spearheaded by Robert M. Lafayette Jr., a progressive Republican from Wisconsin. This revolution of miners caused a reaction in the government, and the reforms that followed it have echoed throughout the rest of the century, and to this day, the Battle of Blair Mountain remains the largest civil insurrection in the United States since the Civil War.
Yeah. Damn, I wish they had more detail. Let's talk about, there is a Sierra Club message.
Real quick, you mind if I, while you're looking for that,
Yeah.
read this section from
Fight for
Reactionary
their-
Mind?
Yeah, sure.
So this is from Corey Robbins' book, The Reactionary Mind, Conservatism from Edmund Burke to Donald Trump. It's a fantastic book. If you have the opportunity, you should read it. But it's kind of a long quote here. But American labor history is filled with similar complaints from the employing classes and their allies in government. Not that unionized workers are violent, disruptive, or unprofitable, but that they are independent and self-organizing. Indeed, so potent is their self-organization that it threatens, in the eyes of their superiors, to render superfluous the employer and the state. During the Great Upheaval of 1877, striking railroad workers in St. Louis took to running the trains themselves. Fearful the public might conclude that the workers were capable of managing the railroad, the owners tried to stop them, in effect launching a strike of their own in order to prove it was the owners, and only the owners, who could make the trains run on time. During the Seattle General Strike of 1919, workers went to great lengths to provide basic government services, including law and order. So successful were they that the mayor concluded it was the workers' independent capacity to limit violence and anarchy that posed the greatest threat. Quoting the mayor, "The so-called sympathetic Seattle strike was an attempted revolution. That there was no violence does not alter the fact. True, there was no flashing guns, no bombs, no killings. Revolution, I repeat, doesn't need violence. The general strike, as practiced in Seattle, is of itself the weapon of revolution, all the more dangerous because quiet. That is to say, it puts the government out of operation, and that is all there is to revolt, no matter how achieved." Into the 20th century, judges regularly denounced unionized workers for formulating their own definitions of rights and compiling their own register of shop floor rules. Workers like these, claimed one federal court, saw themselves as, quote, exponents of some higher law than that administered by courts. They were exercising, quote, powers belonging only to the government, declared the Supreme Court, constituting themselves as a, quote, self-appointed tribunal of law and order.
Yeah, and that's the thing is frequently commentators will say things like, workers are dumb, why don't you just start your own business and make it a co-op? The average worker is really stupid. We can't really count on them to run things. If they organized our society around worker control, everything would fail. And that's never been the case. Every time that one of these incidents takes place, it reveals the fact that these the people with institutional power and privilege don't actually serve much work. They don't, and that's by design. The world is divided between two groups: those that work and those that don't. If you eliminate the control of those that don't, they're not doing anything. They're unnecessary. All right, let's look at the Sierra Club thing about the Battle of Blair Mountain, because the head of that labor struggle became a national park, Blair Mountain. And recently, coal companies and the Republican Party have stripped away the national landmark so that they could do mountaintop removal mining.
In 1921, 10,000 miners gathered together to unionize the southern West Virginia coalfields to fight for their health and for their safety. They were met on Blair Mountain, and a battle ensued. Today, Blair Mountain is threatened by mountaintop removal coal mining.
They strip away the entire forest, bulldoze away the soil, and start blasting.
This is mountaintop removal
at Antietam.
What they would like more than anything in the world, these giant corporations, is to destroy this great monument to the union movement, the American middle class, to American values and American democracy, and that's Blair Mountain.
And I've come to the conclusion the history of Blair Mountain actually is a motivating factor behind the industry wanting to blow it up.
they were asking for an 8-hour workday, to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, to be paid by the hour instead of the ton, so that they could have a stable income and not work 14 hours. They weren't asking for the sun and the moon. They were just asking for human decency, basically.
If you had money coming to you, you was paid in Scrip.
No, no. There wasn't no such thing as you having any money coming to you for your job. You didn't make enough to even feed your man and his wife.
But the most important thing that happened during that period to restore our democracy was the emergence of the union movement. And that really, and the biggest battleground, the frontline battleground for that battle was on Blair Mountain.
And when they realized that the state government wasn't going to help them out, and they realized that the national government wasn't going to help them out, and they were starving, in tents, that's when they grew desperate, and that's when they grew violent.
Social movements that are nonviolent, that have been successful, have mostly developed in the 20th century, Gandhi and then King. And until, in 1921, that hadn't happened yet.
Frankie said, the only way you can get your rights is with a high-powered rifle. And he told them to go home and await the call to march.
They started out on foot. At one point, probably around Danville, they ended up hijacking a train.
There was an army waiting for them at Blair Mountain. This was an army made up of state police, of mine guards, and of citizens.
And then what actually brought the whole thing to an end was that federal troops from Kentucky were called in. Well, as soon as the miners heard that the federal troops were coming, they thought, first of all, that the federal troops would be on their side, and they'd try to work on the side of justice rather than on the side of the coal operators. Indeed, they didn't. They went in and started arresting people, so the miners then fled. They really didn't want to fight the U.S. Army.
It's a bittersweet time because, on the one hand, they lost, and the union was broken for the next 12 years. But on the other hand, it's one of those mileposts that you look back on and say that was a really important moment. And in fact, even though it initially led to a setback, it finally led to going forward.
Yeah, brings back a lot of memories. Sure does. Blair Mountain means the start of this union in here. That's 90% of it. That's where it started from. Blair Mountain.
I'm a charter member of the United Mine Workers of West Virginia.
You've got rights when you've got a union, ain't you, buddy?
I become the mine committeeman, the safety committeeman, and the hospital committeeman. I didn't let them die with nothing.
I think the symbol that Blair Mountain represents of people standing up to the coal industry is one that they would just as soon have obliterated.
Yeah. See, they're going to fill this hollow in here too. This is going to be the Atkins Fork Valley field right here. So it's probably going to meet their valley field over here, a couple branches. Yeah. There was a dirt road that went up the hollow there and through the pass here, Low Gap, and we know there was a lot of fighting going on there. That's the valley field right there for the Atkins Fork mine. Right there. If you walk up that hollow, you'll be on top where all the artifacts are.
We're going in with metal detectors. We're not finding anything made after 1921. That means that those artifacts are dated before 1921, which puts them right at the time of this battle.
Most of the miners probably just pulled their squirrel gun or their deer gun out of the closet and a couple of boxes of ammunition, and they went to war.
And I found miners' bullets coming all the way up, right? And so now we're seeing the defensive parts right here, a whole bunch of fired rounds, and then we just now found an incoming round.
Now, when you have a lot of spent bullets like that, the lead part, then you think, hey, there was some pretty close quarters here. And so you think the miners were really putting the heat on them.
Right down over the hill, we found some patterning of pistol rounds, which are short-range weapons.
But the things you find in the soil don't lie. They tell the truth. And they've been there for 90 years, and then all of a sudden, they start testifying.
We know that they broke through at Crooked Creek Gap. I think that they broke through at Mill Creek Gap. And what we're finding here with the archaeology is that they possibly were breaking through here. This piece of land right here is one of the most significant stories in American history. And if it's destroyed, then it's going to be gone forever.
Essentially, you're taking the most incredibly biodiverse temperate forests on Earth and this amazing aquatic resource and poisoning it, annihilating it, and destroying it forever in order to get to the coal. And at the base of the mountains where this is going on, communities are being driven to extinction.
You just couldn't turn a company loose like A.T. Massey because they'd fill Tug River up. They'd put the river over here,
The coal companies are willing to do anything to get at that coal, including destroying a wonderful historical site that belongs right up at the top of the historical battlefields in our country.
It made it onto the registry, and then all of a sudden the rug was pulled out from under those people who are trying to preserve the mountain. And I think it was pretty underhanded the way that happened.
And so they gave us a list, we commented on it. They used a different list, we commented on that, and they said that it's too bad, it's too late, the comment period was over. Part of the objectors who signed on to objecting the nomination, 2 of them are deceased. They've been dead one of them for over 20 years. And so there's just a huge amount of discrepancies.
This 1,600 acres is roughly what we came up with that included most of the archaeological evidence. And the problem with it right now is that 1,600 acres just happen to have millions of tons of coal underneath, and of course the coal companies are vying for that coal. They want to actually blow the tops of the mountains up so they can get to the coal.
I don't approve it. I don't approve it at all. I hope they stop it coal.
You go down to Mingo County, you go down to Logan County in southern West Virginia where that battle was waged in 1921, and people who are still alive remember their ancestors who fought in that battle.
We want to save Blair Mountain, by God, because that's the working man's symbol. Too many people died that day, so y'all can be speaking here tonight. Too many.
Blair Mountain, it's a part of us. It's like fiber, in the clothing. It's just one little piece that kind of puts the whole puzzle together.
If I was still in there, I'd never stop till they run that plumb out of the damn country. I mean, if it took a war, we would be right there in it.
Look, you couldn't even protect this one very special place. Why don't you just give up? Now, we're not going to do that. Not going to give up on Blair Mountain. We're not going to give up on any mountain.
These mountains here, this is my Blair Mountain right here at Metter. Part of it's been blew off. Well, if you don't like mountains, go to Kansas or someplace, Don't tell me to leave. I'm a pioneer family here. I was here before the coal companies come, before the politicians' buddies came into this area. My family had taken up roots in this area. Well, I hope it turns into everybody's Blair Mountain. That's all we can do is hope and fight, and that's something we'll continue to do.
In the West Virginia coal fields back in 1921, the National Guard, State Police, and the coal company guns shot down 100 miners. The bosses saw his palms, and up on old Blair Mountain, the ghosts are feeling strong.
So now there's an effort to get Blair Mountain listed as the lands unsuitable for mining, and you can help. Please follow the links at the end of this video to know how to do that. Thank you so much.
Shot down at the Logan County Courthouse, coal cops fired around. 10,000 Union miners were bloody Mingo bound, and they say up on Blair Mountain you still can hear the sound. Blair Mountain, the bombs came raining down, machine guns on the ridgeline, turn the Union round.
Yeah, that's the one thing that people don't know is that they used machine guns, aircraft against the miners. When they say the Battle of Blair Mountain, it was a literal pitched battle between the forces of the company and the miners. And It wasn't because the workers were some sort of violent, out of control, grasping people. They went with petitions. They went with appeals to the mine owners' humanity. They talked, and they continued to try every peaceable appeal and method to try to get their grievances redressed. And it became a battle, not because the miners were intransigent, but because the mine owners were. They refused to give an inch. They wanted all of the profits. And that's the foolishness of expecting capitalists to grant some sort of largesse on the people or use their philanthropy to raise us up, or that they're going to raise wages because they made more profit. That will never happen. The only way you will get your wages, your working conditions, and all those things improved is if you organize with one another and you demand what is rightfully yours.
And somebody brought this up in the chat earlier, asking about like professional workers and all that. And the fact is that we see this literally across the entire spectrum of workers. I posted it earlier, I'll post it again, but like last week or so, we read an article from Vox where one of the writers, who was, one of those professional writers, they've been working in DC for the better part of a decade, they joined the Vox union, and even though they were against it at first, by the time they actually got the contract signed, they had come around and saw that it was incredibly important, not just for themselves, but for everybody else at the company. And yeah, no, this is every worker's struggle.
There are, and by the way, the Battle of Blair Mountain is not the only example of labor strife in America. It's just one of many, many examples. There were violent reprisals against workers all the way into the 30s. Imagine that. Violent. And by the way, if you don't think that could happen again, it could happen tomorrow. And if the companies had their way, it would happen. It happens all the time in Latin America today. It happens in Africa. It happens around the world where labor is weak and capital is strong. They don't treat workers with dignity. They extract more and more and more and more wealth. It's never enough. So
I mean, even everyone's favorite liberal new host of the Daily Show, Trevor Noah, in one of his stand-up bits, he jokes about the South African police striking miners in South Africa. This is very much in our lifetimes.
See if we might have to just I'm trying to find a good documentary on it, and I've been looking for a few hours. I just haven't been able to do it. So we might have to just I can't believe there aren't more I mean, I understand why there aren't. But it's still surprising. So the Battle of Blair Mountain. This is a pretty neutral source, right? History.com, corporate history. So we'll provide commentary, but I didn't want to be accused of just posting commie propaganda. So we're going through the most mainstream possible sources I can. The mountain is safe for now. West Virginians, so this was last year, West Virginians have rescued a landmark in American labor history from the assault by powerful coal mining companies. On June 27th, after more than 9 years of highly contentious and emotionally charged debate, West Virginia's Blair Mountain battlefield, the site of the nation's greatest labor rebellion and largest armed uprising since the Civil War, has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, by the way, remember all the Republicans talking about how every fucking shit Confederate statue we gotta leave up, or otherwise you're erasing history? How come none of them came out of the woodwork to defend this vital historical monument of America's labor struggle? That's weird. It's almost like they wanted to erase history. Blair Mountain, considered by many Americans to be as sacred a national landmark as Gettysburg and Bunker Hill, was the scene of an all-out battle fought in 1921 among a 12-mile perimeter over a 4-day period. Some 10,000 armed miners, frustrated to the point of insurrection, exchanged gunfire with thousands of local law enforcement, state troopers, vigilantes, and gun thugs hired by large coal companies. Dozens of people die. The battle only ended after Warren G. Harding dispatched 2,100 troops to Logan County. So it looks like all that stuff, the Sierra Club's activism with union mine workers worked. They successfully stopped the coal miners in West Virginia. That shows you the power of a union.
By the way, at some point we should just bring up the logo of the Pinkertons, because the Pinkerton company is still around.
Oh yeah, let's watch this Trevor Noah joke, because he's a piece of fucking shit. I'm not installing your extensions in RT. Looks like they copyright claimed it. So this link is not a surprise, right? Not a surprise.
See if I can find another one.
So let's read this. Let's do Reading with Mike from PA, The Battle of Blair Mountain. All right. The Battle of Blair Mountain was the result of years of bitter labor disputes between the miners and coal companies of southern West Virginia. Since the late 1800s, the coal fields of the state's Mingo, Logan, and McDowell counties had operated under a repressive company town system. Workers mined using leased tools and were paid low wages in company currency, or Scrip, which could only be used in company stores. Safety conditions were often deplorable, yet despite the efforts of groups such as the United Mine Workers, the mine operators had kept unions out of the region through intimidation and violence. Wait a minute! You're saying that companies used intimidation and violence and paid their employees in fake money? Huh. That how could that happen under the free market? It looks like those mine owners were violating the non-aggression principle. Why didn't everybody stop buying their coal? They were violating the NAP. Oh my God. Why didn't everyone spontaneously stop consuming their coal? Companies compelled their workers to sign so-called yellow dog contracts, pledging not to organize, and they used armies of private detectives to harass striking miners and evict them from their company-owned homes. Yeah, that sounds like exactly what we need. Why do we need those unions? We don't need that National Labor Relations Board. Why do we need those unions? Companies will take care of you. We're a big old family. We're a big old family. The hostilities only ramped up in 1920, when the United Mine Workers finally started to organize workers in Mingo County. On May 19th of that year, members of the Baldwin Felts Detective Agency, aka Mercenary Company, arrived in the town of Matwane to evict union miners from houses owned by the Stone Mountain Coal Company. After catching wind of the detectives' activities, Matwane Mayor Cable Testerman and a pro-union sheriff named Sid Hatfield, so it elect 2 elected officials. We live in a democracy, by the way. So the mayor of the town and the elected sheriff. How did those coal companies treat their democratic officials? A verbal argument quickly escalated into a gunfight, and when the smoke cleared, 7 Baldwin Felts agents had been killed, along with Mayor Testerman and 2 local miners. The so-called Matwane Massacre galvanized support for the United Mine Workers, which collected new members and organized a strike in the summer of 1920. The coal companies responded by bringing in a non-union replacement workers, and over the next several months, the 2 sides engaged in a fierce guerrilla war. Murder by laying in wait and shooting from ambush has become common, Mingo County Sheriff wrote in 1921. The tipping point in the mine war finally came on August 1st, 1921, when Sheriff Sid Hatfield was shot dead by Baldwin Felts agents as he entered the McDowell County Courthouse. The assassination outraged the miners, who considered Hatfield a hero for his involvement in the Matwane shootout. Within days, thousands of Union supporters had flocked to the outskirts of Marmot, a small town located near the state capital of Charleston. Led by UMW organizers Frank Keeney and Fred Mooney, they resolved to march on Mingo County to confront the coal companies and free the Union men imprisoned in the area. Many of the marchers were World War I veterans, and they came armed to the teeth with military-issue Springfield rifles and shotguns. It's time to lay down the Bible and take up the rifle, miner and Baptist Reverend John Wilburn declared. The miners' route to Mingo required them to pass through Logan County. A coal company stronghold ruled by anti-union sheriff named Don Chafin. Upon learning of the march, Chafin scraped together a 3,000-strong army of state police, deputies, and citizen militiamen and prepared for a fight. No armed mob will cross the Logan County line, he proclaimed. Chafin and his supporters had soon constructed a network of machine gun nests and trenches around Blair Mountain, a 2,000-foot peak that stood directly in the miners' path.
Yeah, I can't find a clean video of this Noah thing.
Yeah. On August 24th, the main body of coal miners set out from Marmot and headed south towards... Yeah, I think they copyright claimed everybody who did anything on it. The main body of coal miners set out from Marmot and headed south towards Mingo County. Keeney and Mooney made the last-minute attempt to call off the march after meeting with the War Department's General Harry Banholtz, who warned that any violence would prove disastrous for the Union. But the proposed ceasefire collapsed when 2 miners died in a skirmish with Chafin's forces. By August 28th, some 10,000 Union men had massed near the border of Logan County and began trading gunfire with company supporters. To distinguish one another in the dense forest, many of the miners tied red handkerchiefs around their necks. They soon became known as the Redneck Army. The first heavy fighting in the Battle of Blair Mountain began on August 31st, when a group of around 75 miners, led by Reverend Wilburn, stumbled across some of Chafin's Logan defenders on a wooded ridge. Each side asked the other for a pass or to receive the wrong answer, prompting a shootout that killed 3 deputies and 1 miner. That same day, the main army of miners commenced a 2-pronged assault on Chafin's trenches and breastworks. Scores of Union men streamed up the mountainside, but despite their superior numbers, they were repeatedly driven back by the defenders, who riddled them with machine gun fire from the high ground. Where'd these guys get these machine guns from? The miners made more progress when the battle was renewed on September 1st. That morning, a detachment of Union men assaulted a spot called Craddock Fork with a Gatling gun looted from a coal company store. Logan forces fought back with a machine gun, but after 3 hours of heavy fire, their weapon jammed. The miners surged forward and briefly broke the defensive line, only to be repulsed by a fusillade of bullets from a second machine gun nest located further up the ridge. The rest of the day, the hills and hollows echoed with gunfire as the Union men repeatedly attacked the defenders' lines. Machine guns cracked up there so you would think the whole place was coming down on you, Mina Ira Wilson later recalled. At one point in the battle, the din also included the sound of falling bombs. Sheriff Chafin had chartered 3 private biplanes and equipped them with tear gas and pipe bombs loaded with nuts and bolts for shrapnel. The planes dropped the homemade explosives over 2 of the miners' strongholds, but failed to inflict any casualties. In the end, the minor siege of Blair Mountain was only ended by the arrival of federal troops. A squadron of Army Air Service reconnaissance planes began patrolling the skies on September 1st. By the following day, General Banholtz had mobilized some 2,100 Army troops on the orders of President Warren G. Harding. Scattered fighting continued between the miners and the Logan defenders until September 4, but most of the men welcomed the government intervention and laid down their weapons. Roughly 1,000 exhausted miners eventually surrendered to the army, while the rest scattered and returned home. It was later estimated that some 1 million rounds had been fired during the battle. Reports of casualties range from as few as 20 to as many as 100, but the actual number has never been confirmed. All right. There you go. I mean, then...
So, we got the Noah clip here. It's in topics. Big thanks to Magitecker.
All right. Thanks, Magitecker, for finding it for us. It is in the topics. So let me grab that. In topics, or in
topics, yeah. Oh, stream shit! I put it in stream chat. My bad. I thought I.
It's okay. We have a lot of channels. We might need to trim them down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
What? I didn't like Maracana, the London disaster. What? I didn't even know what was going on there. You just read the news and you're like, what? They shot them for dancing. How bad was this dancing? But it wasn't. It was the police versus the miners, and they wanted money, and it was a sad situation.
I'm sorry, it's blasting a little bit.
No one really knows what happened, but everyone has an opinion. I like this. Everyone knows what should have been done. You know, people on the radio, people on the news. Yeah, you know, these bloody police have gotten out of hand. They're busy shooting people, and why didn't they use rubber bullets? Why didn't they use rubber bullets and tear gas? Because those things don't work anymore. They used it the whole week, and they couldn't control people, so they had to come with ammunition because those guys had weapons. Plus, tear gas is a waste of time. Which strike has ever ended because of tear gas? Where have you ever heard that on the news? And after the police deployed the tear gas, everybody went home. No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. Tear gas has just become part of a strike now. It's like a little smoke machine. It's just like, adds ambiance to the atmosphere. It's just, now it just looks like a really violent music video. It's just guys. Everyone has ideas what the police should have done. You hear them on 702. The sad thing is they didn't even warn the miners first. Why didn't they warn them? When someone has a gun pointed at you like this, is that not a warning anymore? How long have I been gone from this country that this is no longer a warning? Yeah, is that anything now? It's all up to interpretations. Yay. Are you coming to my birthday party? Yeah, are you? Must RSVP when? I don't want to undercater like last time. But yeah, this. It's just for emphasis, Baba. See you there. This is madness. My favorite was the National Union of Mine Workers. They said, what is the worst thing in this circumstance is that the police did not even ask the miners what they wanted. Before they should have asked them, what did they want? At what point do you ask these people?
So, I mean, okay. I watched the whole thing, and I didn't mauled. I think that was actually some pretty fucking growth. Be proud of me. Everybody be proud of me. Because all that was happening in my brain while I watched that video was a stream of invective, curse words, and I was mentally ripping my hair out, but I didn't do it in real life. Holy shit. All right, let's talk about Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah.
Let's go.
Is a piece of human garbage. And did you notice how, when he was talking about the representative of the miners, he used basically an accent mimicking somebody who was poor and undereducated, axed them, and he laughed at that. They shot them before they even asked what they wanted. That's funny. You're supposed to be in my gold mine, you slave. You're not a human being. Go mine. Go mine my gold. You don't deserve to live a dignified life, you scum. You lesser than, you creature. You're nothing better than a shovel. You're nothing better than a piece of wood we prop up the mine shaft with. Go away. Tear gas doesn't work. Why should we? By the way, we have a right to strike, you scum, you piece of shit, you scab. This is the guy who they replaced. Viacom, of all the people in the world they could replace Jon Stewart with, this is the guy they picked. Do you think it's an accident that it's the same guy that did jokes about men massacred in a gold mine strike?
I also want to point out something here, and I'm not sure how like common knowledge this is. Police use tear gas against civilians when they're striking or there's a riot or whatever. You cannot use tear gas during a war. It is banned by international treaties to use tear gas in a war zone because it's considered a chemical weapon. But we still use it against civilian populations.
The thing that's really disgusting about this is the fact is, did you get? I think that that happened in South Africa. That video, is that not correct?
I don't know. I don't think the special did, but the strike he's talking about.
No. I think this set was in South Africa because he mentioned, I haven't been in this country, but a gun being pointed at you is still.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know which one this is from specifically.
I'm pretty sure he was in South Africa, and I don't know if you saw the audience shot. Did you see this audience shot? It's a little dim.
Basically, white Afrikaners and maybe a few Indians in there as well. So that's the shot I saw.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
It's Dave from Jamaica, and that's exactly my point. Is in a country that's overwhelmingly black, he's doing a minstrel show where he imitates the lexicon and the accent of poor African mine workers to mock them for being massacred because they dared stand up to the gold mining. Barrick Gold needed that gold. They needed a profit on the gold. You don't get to live a dignified life, you scumbag. And so if you're wondering why Daily Show is trash, never does anything interesting, never challenges power, this is the man. Oh, we warned you when we pointed a gun at you. And he thought that was funny. This is worse than almost any other thing I've ever seen for a comedian.
You could act, that gun thing particularly bothers me because if you just like flipped a couple terms around, you'd be like, oh, why are all these black people in America complaining about being shot by the cops? If the cops hold a gun up, that's warning enough that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. They had warning. You could just flip that around that easily, and the argument is just as disgusting.
And by the way, we need a by the way emote because I say it so much. Jesus. Trevor Noah, here he is in his Daily Show post interviewing Omarosa, and she brings up Flint, Michigan. Now, she's a right-wing insano, and she even thinks the Flint, Michigan water crisis is a crime. Look, how does he react?
We said that we would help the people of Flint to get clean water, and as we know, there's still no clean water there. Those were the things
I
that...
believe the water is of an acceptable standard now, but maybe some people say that not enough was done. But what I've read is that
If you still have to boil your water, it's not acceptable in this country. It's not acceptable
Right.
that there's still brown water coming out of the spigots, and we should have done better.
Trevor Noah is such an asshole. He doesn't even know what happened. All right, so explaining the Flint water crisis for the idiots in the back and for the people that are fortunate enough to not have to worry about it. What happened was Flint, Michigan was under a fiscal crisis because the economy of Michigan has largely collapsed. And they've been in a depression for decades. And it's been hollowed out completely. And in that financial crisis, the Michigan state government passed a Government Managers Act, which authorized the Republican state government to take over the city government from the elected officials of largely black Flint, Michigan, and install their own appointed, unelected city manager to oversee the management of Flint, Michigan. As a part of that, Flint had a municipal water system. And I believe they had a deal with Detroit to source their water. But the community manager, the city manager rather, appointed by Snyder, decided that it was too expensive and they needed to have a cheaper source of water. And there in Flint is the Flint River. But the Flint River is a polluted, industrially ravaged sewer, not suitable for human consumption. So in order to use it, you have to treat it extensively. And when the manager wanted to go forward with the switch to the Flint River as the water source for Flint, water engineers, the water authority, came forward and says, no, we can't switch, because even if we treat the water, it throws off the source of water cannot be properly treated and will corrode pipes, and lead pipes will start leaching lead into the water. And once that leaching begins, even if you switch the source, the lead keeps coming. You can never fix it. You have to replace all the pipes. And they did it anyway. Then when children started come down with lead poisoning all throughout Flint, they denied and covered up the fact that they had ignored what the water engineers and the authority had said, and covered up the fact that it was a permanent problem. That was the Flint water crisis. And even though they switched back, it's not safe because the corrosive water of the Flint River has permanently damaged the pipes in Flint, Michigan. And the only way to make it safe again is to replace all the pipes, which has not happened. So he's a lying piece of shit correcting Omarosa to the right.
It's really dark when you're like Omarosa is the one speaking sense in the conversation here.
I don't know why people don't know why this is not that complicated. Basically, they used a poisonous water source which damaged the pipes, and there's lead pipes, but those lead pipes were safe because they have this there's like a reaction that takes place in pipes that creates like a layer of buildup that prevents the lead from leaching. And the water has a certain pH and a certain chemical composition. Again, I'm not a water engineer, so I don't know this firsthand. I just know what I've read. And when they transferred to the Flint, Michigan water, it disrupted that and caused the leaching to begin. And once that leaching begins, it cannot be fixed. It's permanently fucked. And this is, by the way, a problem around the country. Flint is not the only one because I don't know if you've noticed, we live in a permanent state of austerity in America. Nothing can ever be invested in. No matter how good the economy is going, you never can invest in fixing things. If the economy's bad, you can't stimulate the economy by investing in infrastructure. And if the economy's good, well, you don't want to cause it to overheat by investing in infrastructure. So we never invest in infrastructure, and so the water is poisonous. And I think he's a lying piece of shit because instead of having the humility to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, he tried to insert himself against Omarosa. Do you think Omarosa is lying to make the Republicans look bad? He's a lying piece of shit. And by the way, this is the context. The context is he was laughing at the massacre of strikers and using racial dog whistles. This is a despicable sketch. This should make you unemployable without serious apologies and like public rehabilitation, which he has not done.
Can you bring up the article I just posted in Topics? It goes to what you were saying about how this is a national problem, not just simply a Flint problem.
So we're going off track a little bit. Let's talk about lead in America's water systems. It's a national problem.
4 years after Flint, Michigan's water crisis first captured nationwide attention, the New Jersey city of Newark also faces questions about its water supply. About 15,000 lead pipes provide water to homes in parts of the city. Newark officials had insisted that the water was safe, but state testing found elevated lead levels. Filters are now being distributed, and the city is facing a lawsuit from a nonprofit on behalf of residents there. Anna Warner's outside Newark City Hall with more on this story. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Gail. Well, you know, roughly 1/4 of Newark kids under the age of 6 have detectable levels of lead in their blood, and any level of lead for children is dangerous. Now, Newark dealt with an issue of lead in water.
I want to stop here just to make a comment. When they say any level of lead, what happens when you get lead poisoning is it's permanent, intractable brain damage. There is no treatment. Okay? Lead poisoning fucks you up for the rest of your life, period. And we cannot fix you.
Some schools back in 2016, but city officials had assured residents, they say, that their city drinking water was safe. Now they have questions for City Hall.
I was extremely upset. Extremely upset.
The water coming from Yvette Jordan's tap looks pure, but this year she learned it contained lead levels nearly 3 times federal rules, something she says she didn't expect because of what she'd been hearing from city officials.
Your water's fine. Everything's fine.
That's what you heard from the city?
Yes. Through several robocalls, through a press conference from our mayor. Everything is fine.
But the city is now telling residents in some areas their tap water is not fine. It contains lead above federal guidelines. They're handing out these water filters and telling parents their babies and young children should not drink the water. Mayor Raz Baraka says the problem comes from old water pipes found in some neighborhoods that leach lead into the drinking water.
You have some homes that have no lead in their water at all, who have very little lead, and there are some homes that have elevated lead. Our job, to be prudent, is to have somebody do a study and figure out what actually is going on.
The study report came back last month and found a problem at one of the city's 2 water treatment plants. The methods used to stop lead from leaching into drinking water from those old pipes weren't working.
We acted immediately to address what was happening.
But Eric Olson with the nonprofit group Natural Resources Defense Council says reports show the city's knowledge of lead in its water goes back to early 2017.
The city has really been in denial and shrugged their shoulders and said our water is safe, people should drink it, until just a couple of weeks ago, after we sued them and asked for an injunction on behalf of the citizens in Newark to clean up the water.
The group is suing the city for violating the federal drinking water law, saying the lead levels are some of the highest of any large city nationally, a problem they compare to that of Flint, Michigan.
A case similar to Flint where the government was not telling people the truth.
You know, I take offense to that because what happened in Flint is not what's happening here.
Are you worried that some children may now have been exposed to lead?
Well, I'm worried that our kids are exposed to lead all of the time.
But from this, from the water?
No, I think the water thing is sexy and everybody has jumped on it because of Flint. Water has not contributed in any significant way to the elevated lead levels in our children's blood. Lead-based paint and dust has done that in the city of Newark, and I would suspect in many cities across America.
The city says it's changing the way it treats water at the treatment plant that had the problem. It's also embarking on a plan to replace lead water pipes, but that will take some time, possibly years, to get all of that done. Meanwhile, the NRDC's lawsuit is proceeding, and Yvette Jordan's workers group has joined in that lawsuit. Deanna?
And Anna, as we just heard, concerns about drinking water are not just in Newark and in Flint. They're across the country. So if people at home are concerned, what should they do?
Well, one thing you can do is reach out to your local utility, find out what their tests have found, see if you can get information there. Sometimes they post those online. There are some at-home water testing kits that you can also use, or you could call in a professional to help you with that, Bianna.
Anna, some really important tips. Thank you.
It's such an important story because, as we all know, the data is clear. Lead leads to intellectual brain delays, and that's why I always remember that's the one test they really give all kids. You got to get the lead test to make sure because it's so serious.
And as we said, this should be a nationwide concern.
Janet Shamlian, who's in Juno Beach, Florida. That's a little more than 100 miles from the eye of Hurricane Dorian. Janet, good morning. There's no telling where this storm is going to go next, so how are people preparing where you are?
Tony,
all right,
good
sorry
morning.
about that. We immediately went into the autoplay. They got to get the more metrics for the advertisers. Sorry about the autoplay immediately. The next thing. As far as Bogler, he got timed out for saying that he's convinced I had lead poisoning. So that's not making arguments. That's just insulting me. That's gonna get you timed out every time.
Oh, Bogler's just trolling at this point. Like,
he's got
when we were talking about tear gas earlier, they kept adding me, asking like, "Oh, so you're saying tear gas is worse than guns with live ammunition?" Because yeah, that's things that were.
Mike has a really good brain. Okay.
Happy Labor Day, Eat Spray Love. Yeah, and thanks for joining us. Instead of having hot dogs, hamburgers, and hanging out with friends, or just saying fuck you to your boss, you're here. Hopefully you can do both of those things at the same time. You can eat a hot dog while also flicking off your boss and watching me.
That's Praxis.
Yeah, Caffeinated Lib pointed out in the chat that former mayor of Newark, who has not been asked about this at all, Cory Booker, running for president.
Yeah, if Bogler wants to control uncontested, he should at least do what Sam Cedar does and like donate some bits. Like, come on, man, Sam Cedar too.
Third story up in topics, Mike. I posted this thing from Huffington Post. Might be worth talking about. It's fairly recent. Talking about efforts to unionize Walmart meat pack.
Oh, okay. Bernie wants to make America Venezuela again. I think like what 2000 like 1929. How would you describe America in 1929? Capitalism working. All right. Walmart's meat wars with the union sizzles on. Oh yeah, and Cory Booker is a total piece of shit. We should do a Cory Booker day where we just make fun of him, but he's never been doing good enough in the polls for it to warrant it. It's sort of like I had we did a Gillibrand slam when she dropped out because, you know, I was saving that for whenever she had her bump, but she never had a bump. Cory Booker's kind of the same way. He's just been a loser, and so it's not really warranted actually going and doing a Booker slam. But
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the people that are 2% in the polls, it's like, why haven't you done a Tulsi slam? Well, I mean, she's not relevant to the nomination, so why would I bother doing a Tulsi slam?
Well, I've got like a 3-sentence I've got like a 3-sentence Julian Castro slam because that's all it's justified. I saw an article yesterday. Julian Castro is claiming he can reassemble the Obama coalition to win the presidency. My dude, your RCP average is 1.1% in the polls. You ain't assembling shit.
If you're not currently like in the upper teens, stop talking about Obama. You're not Obama.
Obama was cool.
Like, you're not Obama. I mean, like, that's just like, come on. So can we dispense with that?
On this stream, we don't punch down because it's bad for our backs. So, you know. don't need to do it.
When they go low in the polls, we kick them.
The meat wars between Walmart and the United Food and Commercial Workers was on the front burner this week as a court ruling gave both sides some fat to chew on. In February 2000s, workers in the meat department of a Walmart supercenter in Jacksonville, Texas, voted 7-3 to join Local 540 of the UFCW, becoming the first U.S. workers to vote vote in a union at Walmart. The victory could open the floodgates of pent-up worker frustration at the abusive treatment, low pay, and lousy benefits at Walmart, said then UCFW President Doug Doherty. Doherty called the Jacksonville election the vote heard around the world. The UFCW charged that Walmart went to great lengths to try to cut the vote their way, including stacking the meat department with anti-union workers. Rather than stewed over what the vote meant, Walmart decided to do a little cutting of its own. In a move that they said had absolutely nothing to do with retaliation against the union, Walmart announced several weeks later that it was closing down its meat cutting operations in 180 stores across 6 states and switching to prepackaged meat. Walmart claimed it would find jobs for the meat cutters. The company explained its move to prepackaged meat was in the works for months and would take effect by June 2000. The UFCW petitioned the National Labor Relations Board for an injunction to prevent Walmart from cutting the meat cutters. Changing the way all its stores sells meat shows the extent to which Walmart will go to keep the union out of its stores, the UFCW told reporters. Anytime management concocts a scheme to ratchet down people's livelihoods, it says a lot about the real nature of the company. 3 years went by before a National Labor Relations Board judge ordered Walmart to restore the meat department and the meat cutters and to recognize and bargain with the union over the effects of any change caused by the switch to prepackaged meat. The elimination of work requiring their special skills greatly affected both job satisfaction and the future earning potential, Administrative Law Judge Keltner Locke wrote in his ruling. The absence of future wage increases, coupled with the effects of inflation, constitute a very demonstrable and adverse effect.
So they're switching away from these fresh meat sources that are cut on the spot to probably like a pre-packaged product that's been frozen in preservatives. Is this going to make the quality of their product better or worse?
Oh, Sam Cedar cheered again, and he said, Bernie used to be a capitalist because he bought 5 shares of IBM stock, which cost him $5.50. He bought them to argue for better pensions for the workers in the shareholders meeting. He sold the shares after the meeting.
Bernie short selling.
Sam Cedar, you got him. Bernie the capitalist. God damn it. He's been completely undermined. He bought shares.
5 shares of IBM and 3 houses.
He's practically a landlord now. He's just a wolf in sheep's clothing. You got him.
Did you see his shoes at that one rally the other day? They were pretty damn nice for a so-called social.
Yeah, those brown shoes were nice. Yeah, I agree.
Remember back in during the 2016 primary when there was that meme going around of Bernie Sanders in like a Lamborghini or something like that?
Oh man.
I have to say, Mike, you have a very good troll in Sam Cedar. He puts the effort in.
Sam Cedar, is a legendary troll in the left community, apparently. He goes around to all the left-wing streams and he gives them money. I want to know whose credit card he stole.
He owns a $700 jacket and drives an Audi R8. Sam Cedar.
Well, why wouldn't you want to buy an Audi? That's a good German union work. He's an internationalist.
Not gonna lie, the Audi R8's pretty nice.
Hey, think about all the mediocre middle managers across middle America that have an R8, and this is like one of 100 U.S. senators owning a car. And people actually, by the way, the jacket was a gift from his son who works at that company. And it's cold in Vermont. I don't know if you've ever been there, but investing in a nice jacket is pretty important. I love this shit. This is great. Please give me more Twitter takes. Oh, man.
Isn't that insider trading? He used his employee discount to trade for a jacket for his grandpa, or his whatever. Oh, his dad.
I don't know. If he was a real socialist, he wouldn't be wearing a jacket and boots. He'd be wearing, I don't know, a bear skin and bread bags.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright.
Walmart is
I just
known
put
to Walmart is known to shut down stores that have whispers of union organizing. Here you see that they cut down their entire meat department when the union organizing went on. Like this is the type of shit that's still legal to this day.
Yeah, it's worth noting that like the meat department is probably where most of the injuries from Walmart come. Because they all cut themselves on that thing.
Yeah, you might
So-
have a finger slip and hit the buzzsaw a little bit. Yeah.
Mike,
This
I
happens
just
in the
put
meat
something in
department.
topics. We don't have to go through this article because it's not that interesting. I just want this picture to be shown because the picture is gold.
All right, I'm finding it. Did
Is this a WatchMojo video?
Oh yeah.
Did Bernie said, "Oh my God!"
Did Bernie Sanders buy a $172,000 car with campaign donations? Instead of photographs, the company suggested that the Vermont senator had purchased an Audi R8 luxury automobile with campaign funds. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah.
They keep trying. I give them that.
I just love that picture so much.
It's like
Bernie obviously won that Lamborghini in a street race. Almost had me. You never had me. You never had your car.
We're gonna take the Audi R8s and spread them all around.
Yes, eat, spray, love. Bernie races for pinks.
I just love the idea of like
Bernie's got a NOS
Bernie
set
is-
up in his Audi R8.
Bernie is Dom from the Fast and the Furious
this particular
franchise.
photograph of Bernie Sanders was real, but it didn't show an Audi R8. It was taken from Sanders' official government page and depicted the senator standing next to a Tesla electric vehicle at a charging station. The claim that Bernie Sanders spent campaign donations on a sports car wasn't based on any factual information or documented evidence, but instead on nothing more than a blurry photograph of a man who bore a passing resemblance driving a car that looked like it might be an R8 in an area that didn't look anything like Arizona on a day when Sanders was stumping in the state. Even if Sanders actually was the one driving the car, it's unclear how commentators would know that he owned it and how he paid for it simply from a series of grainy photographs. Sanders' transportation choices were a hot topic in 2016. Oh, man.
Yeah, he had to
Too
take all
funny.
those. He took all those.
He took
charter
he
jets
took charter
around.
flights for Hillary Clinton to campaign for her. Oh man, Trevor Noah really is a scumbag piece of shit.
I don't see what he could do to redeem himself
Man,
unless he kind of
Sam-
owns up to that shit.
Sam Cedar just giving us more content to like chew over. This is some quality shit. All right, hold on. What do you say? I get all my takes from the Enough Sanders spam subreddit.
Oh, I haven't checked them out in years.
Oh god, this is so good.
Let's see what they're up to right now.
Holy shit, man. Holy fuck. That is too funny. Unban me from the Discord, Sam Cedar says. I don't know your Discord name. I forgot it. It got buried in all the DMs I get. So you have to DM me again, and I need to find out all the bad. Confess to me now
what you've done.
What you've done in other Discords. Say that you're sorry. You won't do it again, and I will consider. I will give you one chance not to repeat the bad things you've done. But you need to do a public confession and show of contrition, and say that you've learned from watching so much Mike from PA streams to be a better person. But I want a confession of all the bad shit you've done. If you can't do it, then I'm gonna listen to what my mods say because they're the ones who banned you. I didn't ban you.
Why do you need to be in the Discord? You're doing just fine up here.
I didn't know what I did, though. I don't know. What did you... Well... You don't know what you've done in your own past? I just smeared Bernie. By the way, you're impersonating Sam Cedar. You're not Sam Cedar. Why are you using Sam Cedar loves Bernie. Why are you using his name? Why are you stealing his name?
Well, we're not entirely sure it's not Sam Cedar.
I mean, I guess it is possible. He has been working with Jamie, so maybe he's become more of like a lib. Constantly, hearing about class struggle is the most important thing when he's trying to talk about like some other issue.
So I'm looking at the Enough Sanders Spam subreddit, and their side image is a picture of Bernie Sanders' face overlaid on Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Like, by the way, I am forgiving of people who change, but you have to show that you've changed. You just can't keep being the same piece of shit. Like, if you did stuff that's bad in the past, I don't care.
Brad DeLong with open arms.
Yeah, as long as you like admit that you've made a mistake and that you've changed, I have no problem bringing you in. I'm not a canceler who's gonna cancel you for life because of a mistake you made in 2008 or 2012 or 2016 even maybe.
Even Trevor Noah can be forgiven if he shows acts of contrition instead of hiding his shit. He's permanently done. You think he's done?
There's one thing that you can't be forgiven for.
Scabness.
Scabbing or making fun of people massacred in a strike. You will never be made. I will never. Or like child shit. Like we all know about that. Those are the things that you're not going to be uncanceled for. But like almost anything else, I believe people can change. I think if you're once a scab, always a scab. It kind of reveals something about you.
Yeah, Trevor Noah's kind of proven that, isn't he?
Yeah.
First reaction to that comedy skit is claiming copyright and hiding it from the public. So yeah.
The least he could do is like be funny to start with.
Yeah, that would help.
My eardrums are getting blown out today. I need to turn down my shit a little bit. All right, go ahead.
So okay, they have a politics discussion pin. I don't want to link it because I don't want to like put anybody specific on Reddit on blast or anything. I'm gonna read two posts. One's a comment to the other one, and then we'll actually talk about the reality of this. Real quick, Mike, can you look up Hillary Clinton's 2016 cabinet shortlist?
Oh, sure.
So the first post is, what would Hillary Clinton's cabinet have looked like if she had won in 2016? And this person responds commenting, I'm going to say 40 to 60% women, 30% POC, all competent. Depending on McConnell's level of creativity, potentially a high percentage unconfirmed.
All right, so here's an article that, I don't know why we're talking about this, but it's fine. We'll go with it. This is an article from the New Republic, which is considered to be like a center-left, pretty mainstream Democratic newspaper. It's not a hotbed of Bernie Sanders supporters, right? And the title of the article is, Hillary Clinton's cabinet would have been bad. Noted Access seeker, Axios founder Mike Allen has released Clinton's so-called ghost cabinet, the individuals her campaign likely would have nominated to fill key administration roles. Here's a list. Secretary of State, John Podesta, Bill Burns, or Joe Biden.
Pizza.
Treasury Secretary Sheryl Sandberg. Attorney General Loretta Lynch retained, Jennifer Granholm, Jamie Gorelick, or Tom Perez. Commerce Secretary Gregory Meeks, Sheryl Sandberg, or Terry McAuliffe. Labor
blackface Terry McAuliffe.
Howard Schultz. What?
Holy shit.
Secretary of Labor Howard Schultz.
I don't know about. I mean, that actually would have kicked ass. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty funny. HHS Neera Tanden. Now you know why she's mad. If you being a cabinet official, former cabinet official, is like a license to print money. You become a non-practicing partner, emeritus at major big, law firms. You get hired as a consultant by every fucking scumbag REIT and real estate fund in the country. Oh my God, she would have made tens of millions of dollars from this. No wonder she's mad at Bernie.
HHS is Health and Human Services, Tazkit.
Energy Secretary Carol Browner. EPA, likely an African American. Not even a name, just an African American. Oh my God. Budget Director Gene Sperling. Oh my God. All right, let's.
There's my African American.
The list contains no surprises, which is exactly why it's so troubling. Politico initially reported in October that Clinton was considering Sheryl Sandberg for Treasury Secretary. Progressives opposed that at the time, and for good reason. I was just handed a request. Can Brobrow read all Sam Bit comments in Bernie's voice from now on?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to fulfill that request. Thank you, Support Network at the Mike from PA Studios for the production assistant. We need to get an earpiece in where I just have read instructions. All right, so Howard Schultz of Starbucks for Labor Secretary. It just fucking rules so hard.
Well, real quick, you kind of skipped over a sentence.
Oh yeah, sure.
Progressives opposed Sheryl Sandberg at the time, and for good reason. Sandberg's only qualifications for that position are that she is wealthy and friendly to Clinton.
I can't get over Neera Tanden. Like, can you imagine like the official HHS Twitter account just like getting into fights all the time?
See also Howard Schultz and Anna Wintour of Vogue for ambassador to the UK. And there's Cory Booker, who have been criticized by progressives for his ties to Wall Street and his support for school vouchers, a position he shares with Trump administration Education Secretary nominee Betsy DeVos. If Allen's list is accurate, Clinton viewed the presidency as an opportunity to empower her wealthy centrist allies. There's no evidence at all, in fact, that she learned anything from the anti-establishment sentiment that propelled Bernie Sanders' popular challenge to her candidacy. Holy fuck.
I like to try to find a bright.
Look at this picture of Sheryl Sandberg. She's at AEI. She's at
I didn't even notice she was at AEI. Holy shit. That's American Enterprise Institute, for those who don't know.
Oh my God, we deserve
It's one of the most
to
ghoulish
lose.
right-wing organizations.
I mean, she deserved to lose. What do you want from me? I tried my best to make her win anyway, but god damn it, she was such a piece of shit. Oh, here's a good tweet from our friend of the show, man in my DMs, Ro Khanna, congressman from California, posting what I call Mike from PA bait, a graph. As union membership rates decrease, middle class incomes shrink. This is totally causation, guys. This is not correlation. This is causation. Get mad, centrists. Get mad. This is causation. Yeah. I'm sure they're not related.
Charaman Omnam, AEI stands for the American Enterprise Institute. It's a right-wing think tank that churns out just
horrible shit.
Some of the just horrible garbage. They've been around for decades. It's hard to even summarize in a couple sentences.
Just so the chat sees, the American Enterprise Institute is an influential right-wing think tank that advocates for lower taxes, fewer protections for consumers and the environment, and cuts to the social safety net.
Sam Cedar too donated. But I can buy an Xbox instead of paying union dues.
I'm liking this. It's gonna let you flesh out and practice your Bernie impression. That's the thing
that was a Sam Cedar impression.
Yeah, no, give a Bernie impression.
But I can buy an Xbox instead of paying union dues.
That, oh my god.
I kind of like Sam Cedar.
All right,
better.
I'm officially convinced Sam Cedar is just cool now because
these trolls are too.
I like Sam Cedar.
The only way you would know that. The only way you would know that is if you very closely follow leftist shit to the point where you can't even be a troll because it would consume too much of your time. And that is referring to union dues instead video game console. Hold on. Let me find
real
this.
quick, just to read this sentence. during the George W. Bush administration, AEI was regarded as, quote, as the intellectual command post of the neoconservative campaign for regime change in Iraq. So, that's a AEI.
Here's a source. Don't pay your union dues. Buy a video game console instead. Union dues cost around $700 a year. A new video game system with the latest hits sounds like fun. Put your money towards that instead of paying dues to the union. Delta. Don't risk it. Don't sign it. Oh, shit. By the way, this was what the AFL-CIO official Twitter account tweeted in response.
Doesn't even have analog sticks on it.
Hell yeah.
I think they ended up deleting this tweet, but it was pretty funny. The official AFL-CIO tweet.
For a while there, the AFL-CIO account was just putting out slappers after just...
A guillotine costs only $1,200 to build. Delta CEO made $18.2 million last year. Get outside with your buddies. Share some brews. Sounds like fun. Oh, fuck. So thank you, Sam Cedar, for that. You brought it back. You brought it back to Labor Day with your comments. Thank you, buddy. Getting us back on track. But yeah, let's talk it up. So the AEI had a staff of 225 and an annual budget of $50 million. It is now the dominant conservative think tank, more influential than the Heritage Foundation. Unbelievable. Oh my god. But Sam Cedar, you still haven't confessed all the bad things you've done. Scotch Princess just gave me 100 bits. Thank you. I think you're tied for third, Scott Princess. So if you want to move into the bronze level tier, you have to donate more. Look at who founded the AEI. It's the CEO of an asbestos manufacturer. Of course it is! I didn't even know that! Here's the thing about conservatives. They're always so much more evil than you could ever believe. They're always more evil. Every time. Every fucking time.
More asbestos.
Oh my god. Always more evil.
Weren't AEI also the ones who a couple months ago partnered with the Center for American Progress to fight back against populism on both sides?
Well, yes. So this is actually an important point. People, like, we were all joking about Neera Tanden earlier. Neera Tanden heads Center for American Progress. Center for American Progress contracted to give $200,000 to AEI to produce like these like dumbass papers about how populism is bad and leads to authoritarianism.
All right, so Scott Princess briefly was in third, and then Clyde Manzilla 23 said no, third place is mine. Ironically, it was not enough for him to take third place, so he was forced again to donate again. So let's keep bidding each other up. Oh, Sam Cedar. Watch this, please. All right. I will consider watching this.
In the 70s, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders wrote this essay.
Oh, fuck off. You're going to have to give me like 50,000 bits to watch that shit. So I don't think you can afford it. I don't think you can afford it.
You were like earning your way back into the Discord. And I think that set you back a little.
You were almost back. I mean, I was in favor of bringing you back, so, you know.
You were the chosen one.
I'll give you 1K bits. Nope, I'm sorry. It's 1 minute 39 seconds of dumb shit stuff. You got it 2,000 and I'll let you watch it because it's only a minute. So that's the lowest I could go. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Ro Khanna. There you go. Correlation is causation. Correlation is causation. Wow, greedy Mike from PA. Walmart, I am protecting you from misinformation and anti-Bernie bullshit. I'm not going to do it unless they really support the channel. You know? Like, there you go. That's the way it works. All right, let's watch Bernie Sanders' Labor Day video because it made me misty.
We will make sure that every worker earns a decent wage, not a starvation wage.
I'm proud that together we have pressured Amazon and Disney to raise their minimum wage to $15 an hour.
This is an unprecedented moment in American history.
All right, fixed it.
We are in a struggle for the future of this country. It is a fight that we cannot and will not lose. We will make sure that every worker...
Oh my god, what happened? I think Colin just broke everything for me. Oh, flight smoothie. Whoa! Colin with 4,000 bits.
Hell yeah, Colin.
Colin just takes it. He takes it. Colin, thank you. Thank you, sir. Wow. Dude, you're the best. You're the best. You're the best. Everybody, if you like the content, we are in, I think tomorrow is Subtober, or September? Subtember. And you will be able to sub to the channel at half price. And I believe Twitch Prime gives you 2 months. So, save it. I mean, if you want to do it today, it's fine, but you get double value tomorrow. Colin wants you to play the video. No, he doesn't. You got 1,900 more bits to go. When you cross over 3,000, then I'll watch the video and we'll debunk it. But we're not I don't feel like it right now. We're talking about Labor Day. Fucking Christ. Let's look at this stupid WatchMojo video. I was curious about the top labor strikes. I want to hear what this weird, like, clickbait, the weird clickbait channel would cover these. It should be pretty funny.
Why doesn't
Top 10 anime betrayal labor strike.
Oh shit. Fuck. What? All right, fine.
Oh damn.
God damn it. All right, let's watch this stupid video. Fucking Christ.
In the 70s, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders wrote this essay about sexual dynamics between men and women.
That was 43 years ago. It was very poorly written. And if you read it, what it was dealing with gender stereotypes.
The piece has come back to haunt his campaign, with headlines referring to it as a rape fantasy or a gang rape essay. At best, it is an odd essay.
They're kink
The second
shaming
paragraph
him.
reads, "A woman enjoys intercourse with her man as she fantasizes being raped by 3 men simultaneously." But calling it a rape essay is a bit of a stretch. The rest of the essay, again written decades ago, suggests women have a hard time balancing gentleness with dependency and subservience. And while he now says he wouldn't write it again, this is how he described it to NBC Sunday.
Why some men like to oppress women, why other women like to be submissive. You know, something like 50 Shades of Grey.
Worth noting, though, that 50 Shades of Grey has also been criticized for perpetuating rape culture. The left-leaning news site Mother Jones resurfaced the essay in an article examining Sanders' transition from a young radical in the 1970s to a real politician. Sanders is polling a distant second to Hillary Clinton, but his campaign hopes his populist message and his position to the left of the current frontrunner will resonate as the campaigns move ahead. For his part, Sanders has likened the focus on the 40-plus-year-old essay to a campaign soap opera. For Newsy, I'm Christina Hartman.
I mean, I think it kind of refuted itself, didn't it? Like, do I even need to refute it? Like, it wasn't a rape essay. It was he talked about, like, the concept of rape fantasies and what they reveal about our culture. I mean, there you go. Thanks for the bits. Do you guys have any more comments?
I was a big dumb daddy. I apologize there.
All right.
I was in the lifestyle.
Wow, Colin, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Oh, and Scott Princess, thanks for 100 bits. Where this is bit day. Everybody's just handing out bits.
Just dropping bits.
I think bits are. By the way, like, listen, guys, say, you know, I'm very grateful. Thank you for the money, but if you could wait till like one more day, you'll be able to get more. Be able to get more for your money. So you better I mean, you know, I'm just saying. No subs for Mike today. I know it's 0 subs. Wah, 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 wah,
Who wants to be the first sub of the day?
Why did you think a lack of orgasms cause cancer? We know that's true. That's a fact. Sam Cedar, that's a fact. That's not even a joke. Look. I don't think this is TOS because it's medical. It's WebMD, so you can trust it. Okay. It says frequent masturbation is linked to higher risk of early prostate cancer, but it lowers prostate cancer risk for men in their 50s. So in other words, if you don't if you do later in life, it helps you. It prevents cancer. Early in your life, it's not good for you to do it 7 times per week. So those are rookie numbers. So most of you probably are. Oh, Amaru, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Wow.
Yeah, thanks, Amaru.
Thank you. Yeah, so I put up 100 subs as our first goal of the month. Thank you so much. Sam Cedar, he said it caused cancer. Well, I think there's
no, Brobra has to read it. Brobra has to read it.
Well, it's not really like a Bernie Sanders character kind of thing to say.
I guess.
It does cause cancer in women.
All right, let's look at. Well, I mean, I think this has been studied before. I don't think it's like a totally kook.
That's praxis.
Do we have any studies like on cancer rates between dry jacking versus wet jacking?
Good question.
Men should masturbate 20 times a month, according to science. I don't think that's actually true. That's what you call a clickbait article, guys.
Yeah.
I think we covered that.
Well, the thing is that like, it was better to be safe than sorry.
I'm at twice a day at age 40. Typical 90s action hero. Jesus Christ. So
those 2 muscle emojis too.
Oh, jeez. I'm not leaving. I'm just gonna die from this study. Oh no.
It's both the left hand.
Oh man. We haven't discussed wet versus dry jacking. But
there is, in human biology, there's a thing called use it or lose it. But there's also a thing, if you use it too much, it breaks. So try find the middle ground, boys.
Those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's go back to Labor Day and
we are not medical professionals.
Talk about the dangers of class reductionism.
Well, I actually do think this is important stuff that we're talking about right now, Mike. It's what we categorize under social reproduction theory. So,
hey,
if you're not jacking
Lucid
it,
Fox is here, friend of the show. Thanks, buddy, for stopping by. I caught some of your. I got shout out to Lucid Fox. Oh, that's really interesting. The Hat Yusuf kid that debated Crowder and socialism turned out to be buddy with Nick Fuentes. What do you know? What do you know about that? So yeah, Lucid Fox. I caught some of your show. I didn't catch all of it. I'm sorry, man. You stream so early. I don't know how you do it. I got you screaming at idiots. So I felt very much at home on Lucid Fox stream. It felt pretty normal to me. That to me was not screaming. That to me was normal conversation. So I might have a problem.
I can vouch for that. Yeah, that's Mike on normal.
So let's try. I'm trying to watch this stupid clickbait video, and we'll see if it sucks. We'll immediately close it.
Labor and management tend to get along like cats and dogs. The difference is that pets don't usually stage work stoppages.
Enough is enough, and it's about time that people start fighting back on this, and you have seen what has taken place.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 labor strikes in American history. For this list, we're looking at work stoppages that have occurred over U.S. history and have ranked them based on their numerical or historical significance.
Is this not the best example of how rotten our capitalism is? We've ranked the top strikes. What the fuck is happening?
They're coming back. People are getting fed up with corporate America taking away benefits, reducing jobs to part-time jobs. It's time to put a stop to it.
Number 10, the Great Steel Strike of 1919.
The stream swells in volume, a fiery river if you ever saw one. But you, as an uninitiated onlooker, could not be expected to know that these men in charge are very much in command.
During World War I, the dismal working conditions and low pay in the steel industry improved. Soon after the war, however, the situation reverted to pre-war levels, prompting a strike of 350,000 workers that lasted 3.5 months. Corporate leaders turned the tide of public opinion against the workers.
What color is that flag? They must have all been commies. They had a red flag.
Immigration and communist phobias of the time.
By the way, notice that capitalists and conservatives always try to use communist phobia and the red scares, and they try to direct your attention to like the communist radicals to try to marginalize labor activity, organizing, and left-wing thought. Everything is all capitalists coming to kill you, all the landlords. It's all it's all communists coming to kill all the landlords. It's amazing that in 2019 people are still repeating the same talking points they were saying in 1920.
Failed, and union power in the steel industry was eradicated for more than a decade.
Here is an operation which constitutes in itself a critical test of steel.
Number 9, the UPS worker strike of 1997.
Everybody has to stand together, to be together as one, and that's how you take on corporate America.
Labor was in a definite slump by 1997, so the success of the United Parcel Workers strike was something of a surprise.
I want a good contract. We've been fighting for a long time, and we don't want to settle for something that's not quality.
The 185,000 Teamsters workers.
This is the brown UPS. So if you are using private company to ship something, use UPS. Never use FedEx. FYI.
16 days in August, with one of their primary concerns being the company's policy of hiring part-time workers so that they would not have to pay benefits.
Because it is what this country needs. Decent jobs, a chance for the dream.
Public support was strong for the workers, resulting in UPS agreeing to the demands of the union and giving labor.
Look at that solidarity, by the way. Look at those pilots. Look at those supporters. Look, that's what solidarity looks like. Why did UPS? And by the way, did UPS cave because they have to pay their workers more and provide them benefits and a full-time job? Is UPS out of business? This was 1997. What happened?
Union. And giving labor its first significant victory in many years.
This is a great victory. This is a great victory for everyone.
Number 8.
By the way, look at those. Look how racist those Teamsters are. Man, those Teamsters. It's just white guys, man. It's just white guys. Or wait a minute, is it a cross-racial dynamic? Are there black workers standing shoulder to shoulder with white workers? People without college degrees uniting across racial boundaries and winning and raising everybody's standard of living?
Number 8, the
Amazing.
U.S. Postal Strike of 1970.
In New York City, postal workers demanded a vote to strike, and all hell broke loose.
Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from their swift completion of their appointed rounds. Unless, of course, they want better pay.
President Nixon ordered the Army to go into New York City and to get the mail moving, and said if necessary he would do the same in other cities.
Federal employees are denied the right to strike, which is what makes the 1970 strike by the U.S. postal workers important.
The biggest post office of all, New York City, is entirely closed down.
This first strike by public employees
Hell
was
yeah.
illegal, but
Hell yeah.
210,000 postal workers did it anyway.
Hell
For
yeah.
2 weeks in March, the Postal Service ground
Hell
to a halt,
yeah.
beginning in New York City and
Hell
spreading
yeah.
nationwide. President Nixon's attempt to use the Army and the National Guard as letter carriers was a dismal failure.
Ha
and
ha,
the
fuck
postal
you.
workers were granted increased wages and better conditions.
Wait a minute! Are you saying an illegal strike worked? And the replacements failed? Huh. Maybe there is power in a union. Maybe we should all join together and demand higher pay and benefits. Nixon just got defeated. Holy shit. Isn't this... Don't you feel strong and empowered? It's amazing.
Knows that we're in the pain, but still,
Do you see?
He can give himself a 100% raise. Congress can give itself a 41% raise, but we can't have nothing.
Number 7, the air traffic controller strike
God.
of 1981.
This is
All
the
of
worst.
those opposed to returning to work and staying out for as long as it takes to get a fair and equitable contract signify by saying yes.
A 1981 strike by these federal employees.
Now, these guys fucked up because they got tricked by the Republicans. Reagan, during the campaign, told them, oh, you know, I'll make sure you guys get better. And so they were like neutral in the election of Carter versus Reagan. And how did Reagan treat traitors? How did he treat the union that went against solidarity with the rest of labor? What happened to him?
Had a very different result. In August, 13,000 members of the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization went on strike for shorter hours and higher wages. President Reagan issued an ultimatum to PATCO. Get back to work or...
By the way, you know, I like when I have tired air traffic controllers. That's a pretty low-stress job, doesn't require a lot of attention. I like when they're worried about paying rent and their mind is somewhere else, and I want them to be tired and exhausted. That's a good idea.
Get fired.
They are in violation of the law, and if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated.
The strikers refused, so Reagan fired 11,345 workers in one fell swoop.
An insensitivity shown by this administration will not get our people back to work. We are as firm in our convictions as we were when this started.
Playing hardball, the government jailed many of the union leaders. And
Do you see this shit? This is fucking fascist. And look at this brave fucking guy. Man.
Waged stiflingly high fines against the union for the illegal strike. The strike failed and was a crushing blow to the labor movement.
We feel our cause is justified. We've all now been terminated. And even if we wanted to end it, it couldn't be ended. That is to say, we have no intentions of ending it, but if we wanted we couldn't. We're no longer employees.
Number 6, the Homestead Strike of 1892. Although the steel industry in general was fiercely opposed to labor unions, magnate Andrew Carnegie accepted their value in the workplace. However, when workers at his Homestead Steelworks in Pennsylvania demanded increased wages, Carnegie sought to break the union. The strike started on June 30th, but became a part of history on July 6th. That's when 300 Pinkerton agents hired by the industry arrived. An intense battle ensued, with both sides armed. By the time the smoke cleared, 9 strikers and 3 agents lay dead, and the union suffered a major defeat. Number 5, the ILGWU strike of 1909.
Garment workers.
Operators who sew up the whole dress work under high tension.
Known as the Uprising of 20,000, the International Ladies Garment Workers Union strike lasted 14 weeks starting in 1909. Working conditions in sweatshops were truly abominable and frequently dangerous. But when 20,000 workers in New York City, most of whom were women and immigrants, went on strike, no one expected it to succeed. But with a motto of "we'd rather starve quick than starve slow," workers were finally able to win many of their demands, including a 52-hour work week.
Saturday and Sunday off and fair wages were the result.
Number 4, the Great Railroad Strike of 1922. An astounding 400,000 railroad shop workers went on strike on July 1st, 1922, prompted by management's plan to decrease pay by 7 cents an hour. That may not sound like much today, but in 1922,
What the hell,
it
Nightbot?
represented a 12%.
What the fuck is this? All right, let me fix this Nightbot. Keep watching.
Cut in wages. Management
Subscribe to
responded the strike
HASAN.
by
Nightbot, you
replacing
son
most
of a
the
bitch.
workers, and violence often broke out. 11 people were killed over the months the strike lasted. A federal judge eventually issued an injunction outlining strike activities, effectively ending the work stoppage on September 1st. Number 3, the textile workers' strike of 1934.
I was just surprised that anybody wanted to unionize down here. We thought, you know, things were going along so great.
Labor Day of 1934
Trying to
marked the
sneak
start
stuff
of a
in.
major
Hassan,
strike by
I'm deleting all
400,000
this stupid
textile
Hassan
workers.
shit.
Lasting 3 weeks, the strike was largely a response to the industry's increasing demands that fewer workers be used to produce more goods.
You got somebody behind you pushing, wanting more and more and more to give you less and less.
Coming in the midst of the Great Depression, both sides in the dispute felt tremendous pressure. Mill owners responded with strikebreakers, often armed, and the strike was ultimately a failure. Many strikers were killed and thousands lost their jobs.
My grandmother told my mother that she would rather see her take my brother and me to the graveyard than to bring us to be brought up on the cotton mill village.
Number 2, the bituminous coal strike of 1946.
Here's a good one.
68 million tons of coal production was the loss during the long layoff. American railroads, factories, and homes are desperately in need of plenty of these black diamonds.
One of labor's longest strikes lasted from April 1st to December 7th, 1946. Seeking higher wages and better conditions, some 400,000 bituminous coal workers heeded the call for a strike. And they were hardly alone. By the end of 1946, well over 4 million Americans were involved in strike activity. The coal strike drew special attention from President Truman, who feared that it might stifle the post-war recovery period. And although he fined the union heavily, the agreement he offered did address many of the workers' concerns.
When the long coal trains move again, we can all look forward to improved production in all industry.
Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Here's Mike Needham heading in. Save Rick, the rebound. Score! Mike Needham
Oh, this one.
with his first ever NHL goal.
We're told they are actually on strike as we speak. They will complete any run, drop people off their destination, then take the buses back to the barn.
We're not asking for very much. I mean, they want 4 extra cents a DVD and they want 2.5% of whatever they make for profits for internet.
Number 1, the steel strike of 1959.
The longest and costliest strike in the history of the steel industry hit the United States economy in 1959.
500,000 employees walked out on the steel industry for 116 days in 1959, as the union asked for a wage increase and assurances against reductions in hours, number of employees, and more.
In July, the steel industry across the nation banked its furnaces, turned off the vital flow of steel. 500,000 steel workers saw their last paychecks for at least 5 months.
President Eisenhower invoked the Taft-Hartley Act to compel workers back to work. And when the union sued to have the act declared unconstitutional, it was defeated in a Supreme Court decision.
I'm not going to try to assess any blame, but I'm getting sick and tired of the
Okay, I think I fixed most of the stupid shit.
The United Steel Workers of America Union ultimately prevailed in obtaining a favorable contract. But the long-term effect of the 4-month strike opened the door to imported steel, leading to a substantial decline in the size of the U.S. steel industry.
Sorry, Desert Rat, I don't know how to undo that. Let me see.
Do you agree with our choices? What other famous American strikes deserve to be on this list? For more enthralling top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
We're going to turn it around because there's enough money to share, and we're going to make them share it.
Goddamn right. You know, that video wasn't so bad, except for the part where I wasn't paying attention. I don't know how it went, how'd it go. All right. Cool.
WatchMojo actually did a pretty good job.
No, I mean, those are a lot of the important strikes in history, especially that the failure of the air traffic controllers is definitely considered to be a turning point.
Mm-hmm. Proving once again, Reagan is a piece of shit.
It's from 2014, so fortunately can include the West Virginia teacher strike.
The Pullman strike was an honorable mention. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Anytime they do these dumb... It's the fact that they had the dumb top 10 clickbait bullshit. It's so stupid.
Pullman strike was barely instrumental to anything in the United States, and we all know that, all right? It's like, it's right there next to the Haymarket affair for having almost no effect on policy in the United States whatsoever. So, come on, guys.
More like Haymarket Tawdry affair.
I know. Like, who even knows about that one? Psh, fuck it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's why WatchMojo is just abhor. Like, to think that we're gamifying, like, worker strikes. Like, here's the top 10 points of human suffering in history. Enjoy WatchMojo, guys.
I think there might actually be that. Top 10 genocides. WatchMojo.
I am...
Top 10 infectious diseases.
I am 100% sure that that's a thing.
Christ.
I put it in Amazon anti-union video and topics if we want to dunk.
We've covered this before, but we'll do it again just for the purpose of Labor Day. We're gonna.
It's a short 3-minute one.
So I've been a real idiot and have been putting things in the production stream that I thought should be played during the stream.
Oh no, that's not dumb. There's too many
It's
channels.
just a mess right now.
I'm gonna after the stream we're gonna trim down the channels so there's one channel.
I mean, I think it's good to have a topics channel, but I thought it was for potential, so that you could plan out stuff in advance.
Merps 99. WatchMojo has top 10 mass shooting.
Oh my god. Ugh.
Number 9, Columbine. This 90s massacre is a classic in the media today.
So we're nearing our 1,000 subs on YouTube, and we can actually get a custom URL when that happens. So if you guys could go over to the YouTube channel, it's down in the stream info. Click on that, hit sub. We're nearing it. Our videos perform pretty well. We just need to get people to start subbing.
Where's your YouTube? I'll follow it.
It's in the links. It's got a horrible garbled.
Exist.
Wait.
Nightbot says.
What the hell?
The link that you have through Nightbot does not exist.
I broke it. I broke it.
Nightbot defeated.
I broke it. I fucking broke it.
So go sub, like, and subscribe. Does not
Hold
exist.
on. Jesus Christ, I broke it.
Oh no, actually it does work. This YouTube links to Hasan's Instagram.
That's usually the stuff that scares me more in the
Wait,
morning.
what?
Although obviously that's a goal.
I don't know. Nightbot just apparently loves Hasan. It's weird.
What the fuck?
Here we go. This is the YouTube. Perfect.
Did it work?
Yes.
Which link worked?
The one that Colin just linked.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, the one that Nightbot has is a nothing link.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I don't know what
To
the
be
fuck
clear, when I'm talking
happened.
about moderate discourse,
Oh no, I opened my.
bring out usually
It started
MIKEFROMPA
playing.
because,
with,
like I said,
oh, Jesus Christ! All right, hold on. We're gonna fix this live, but first of all, Big Mike just being confused is probably not the most entertaining thing. Let's look at Amazon's
Sausage
union busting
making time.
trading video.
With this training, specifically designed to give you the tools that you need for success when it comes to labor organizing. During this course, we'll cover several important topics, such as our position on unions, associate rights, signs of employee disengagement, and how to identify, escalate, and address associate concerns. We are not anti-union, but we are not neutral either. We will boldly defend our direct relationship with associates as best for the associate, the business, and our shareholders. We do not believe unions are in the best interest of our customers, our shareholders, or most importantly, our associates. Our business model is built upon speed, innovation, and customer obsession, things that are generally not associated with unions. When we lose sight of those critical focus areas, we jeopardize everyone's job security. We don't badmouth unions in general, but we will speak openly with associates about unions, including any specific.
All right, it works now.
about particular
Perfect.
unions
Thank you,
involved in
guys.
organizing.
It should work now.
And we share our preference for a direct working relationship frequently and boldly, even when no
Thanks, Arlo.
organizing activity has occurred. You will learn about the warning signs most commonly associated with early.
Okay, guys. What do you think the warning signs of labor organizing are? What should executives in a company be on guard for when they hear it? What should they be on guard for? What should they be on guard for? What words? What are the words?
Workers fraternizing.
People being friends with each other. That's one. That's one.
Yeah, that's
Eating
all
after
good.
work.
Organization will be a word in there for sure.
People hanging out at the work site after their hours.
Work organization, yeah.
People asking each other, hey, what are your bills like?
Sure, yeah, wage discussion, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the phrase living wage or people, and here's another one. Here's the one that's really funny. Wait till you see it.
As well as other warning signs that could indicate associate disengagement, vulnerability to organizing, or early organizing activity. While employees have the right to organize, we have a right and responsibility to share our position that a direct working relationship is better for the customer, the company, and the associate. In order to be able to do that effectively, it is critical that we recognize the early warning signs of potential organizing and escalate concerns promptly. If you see warning signs of potential organizing, notify your building HRM and GM site leader immediately.
By the way,
HRM
what is an HRM? That's a human relations manager. Now, I thought human relations was for me. Whenever I have a problem, I always go to human relations. Now you learn the purpose of human relations is to protect the company, not you.
Always,
and GM site leaders should notify their assigned ER managers or ER principal immediately. The most obvious signs would include use of words associated with unions or union-led movements like living wage or steward, petitions or other concerted activity such as an associate purporting to speak on behalf of his or her coworkers when raising concerns,
Group petitions,
union graffiti, union t-shirts, hats, jackets, or other clothing, union flyers, and union visitors in or near the parking lot. Some signs are less obvious than finding the actual union flyer, but they can still indicate associate disengagement, which is itself a warning sign for potential organizing. Examples include associates who normally aren't connected to each other suddenly hanging out together, associates who were close suddenly stop speaking to each other, groups of associates scatter when approached by management, increased associate negativity, anger, or confrontation, unusual complaints or change in passion or detail around complaints, unusual interest in policies, benefits, employee lists, or other company information, or any other associate behavior that is out of character. For example, an associate who normally leaves promptly begins hanging out in the break room for an hour after work each day. In order to recognize warning signs, it is critical that you know what an associate's normal behavior looks like. Often, it is the change in behavior that is the warning sign, more than the actual behavior itself.
Yeah, there you go.
Unusual interest in
benefits.
Policy. Like what?
Yeah. If you suddenly go like, hey, I'm supposed to be able to get a break. I'm supposed to get a break for 20 minutes. That's a union warning sign.
Oh, that's scary, yeah.
AKA fire that person immediately.
Have we ever watched, it's not really related to this, but have we ever watched the Smart Pipe video? Like on here?
I don't believe we watched Smart Pipe. Lucid Fox,
Can we get away?
Have you seen this?
Can we get away with watching Smart Pipe on here?
Mate, probably.
Probably?
Probably.
Would you watch it, Lucid? Would you watch Smart Pipe on your channel?
Probably, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
All right, maybe.
Hey, by the way, real quick.
Maybe later.
Lucid Fox.
Yeah.
Lucid Fox, you're super quiet.
I know. I'm turning up my mic a little bit. I turned it down because last time it was too loud.
I think
turn it up now.
You gotta turn it way up because
All
most
right.
of the time the stream can't even hear you.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Nice.
Good now, buddy.
Is everybody good and listenable too? Is all the levels good? Everyone?
Yeah. By the way,
sultry tones.
Yeah. Dude, the thing that like I don't know, that wasn't even I didn't even hate like the second part of that video. I just hated the first like part of it with the double speak and the associates.
Yeah, that shit annoys me. Oh,
Colin asked, do you feel that since we learned in the last video that USPS can't legally strike, was the top reason Amazon picked using USPS and also probably cheaper? Well, the government's more efficient at delivering packages than the free market. And the Postal Service could do it at a much lower price because of economies of scale and efficiency that is brought in by the central organization.
They also go places that UPS and FedEx don't go.
Well, so there's subsidies. That's the other thing. There's subsidies for like rural routes that, FedEx and UPS don't do. So that allows Amazon, which is trying to cover as much of the country as possible, it's usually much more efficient to use the USPS. Colin, thanks for donating a sub to Dumbledore's Phoenix. Appreciate that. You're the best.
So like back in the day when like people were really talking about privatizing USPS or privatizing aspects of it or cutting services, one thing they were trying to do, like you'd see a lot of Republicans going out and saying, look, we have all these people in rural areas. Why do they need to get mail? Why can't they just come to the post office and pick it up? Which, if you actually think about what that would mean to everyday people, would be a nightmare and against what the Postal Service is. They deliver mail to everybody in the United States. And by cutting those services, it also just, one, gets into like the constitutional position that the USPS is supposed to do. And then two, it degrades services, so people are more and more likely to see it as something to privatize and get rid of.
That's important. Sam Cedar asks, Mike, do you have any or an Audi?
You're asking a good question. This morning, when I got out of the shower, I was like, I should post a thirst trap pic just like Hasan. But I thought better of it. You guys lucked out for one day, but eventually, my ego is going to grow so large.
Mike, you
that
gotta
it's
get out
gonna
there on the
happen.
basketball court,
And that's another way of saying, I don't think anybody with an Audi would post that, would they? Does Hasan have an Audi? I never focused on I'm not a belly button man, so I never looked at it. I'm obviously an innie. Get out of here with your anti. By the way, there is no Audi prejudice on this channel. That's fucked up. Don't you shame your Audi brothers and sisters.
See, me personally, I've got an innie belly button, but I've also got innie nipples, which I've heard is rare.
Okay.
No, there's nothing wrong with innie nipples.
I've actually got a dual power structure belly button, so that's pretty cool.
I am both an innie and an Audi.
I'm asymmetrical. I got one of both.
What are your thoughts on Destiny's conversation with Zero Books? I haven't watched it.
He's literally doing it right now. Like what?
I haven't been interested in the conversations he's been having, to be honest. Although, I mean, if someone could show me one that's really interesting and cool, I will watch it. But frankly, I haven't been interested in anything that's being said.
Yeah, the one he had the other day with what's his name, Marnier or whatever, was not great.
Yeah, and my position is slightly different than Mike's, because I did get one DM asking me like, "Hey, did you see this Destiny thing? What did you think?" I don't watch Destiny. I don't care about anything that he has to say. I'll make fun of him on Twitter, but that's it.
Here's the thing, like, I'm interested in good discussions. Like, if there's something interesting that people want me to talk about, I'm fine. But like, just some randoms that come into a chat and start defending their positions poorly, I'm not interested in. And a lot of people aren't equipped with debate skills. They may be intelligent, they may be well read, but the thing about a debate, at least in that format, is you have to be able to recall things really quickly. And frankly, I don't think that's necessarily the most productive unless you go in there talking about a very specific thing and you're prepared to substantiate it.
It's not a good avenue for seeking truth.
Nope.
Frankly, Destiny has not been at his bestiny lately.
Wow. I mean, when he's done with this, maybe we could talk about like electoral politics. If you guys would have, I'm not exactly sure what I would talk to him about. Maybe talk to him about the progressive movement in the United States and the different like forces within it, and the competition with the establishment parties and the different forces within those, and like the tensions within the Democratic coalition, and why supporting the progressive wing is necessary for like both electoral success but also like to get good policy. We may do that. I mean, I don't know if he's open to that because he watches a lot of MSNBC takes. So
it would be pretty funny to get on Labor Day Destiny to shout at the top of his lungs, "Fuck Pennsylvania steelworkers" again.
I just I want to remind you, because we talked about this.
And by the way, let me say one thing about that. You're not a social democrat if you say fuck labor unions. You're just not. Labor unions and trade unionists are a vital pillar of the social democratic coalition. And I don't even think you're a liberal at that point. I'm starting to suspect you may be a Republican. So that's the thing.
It's a bad take. It was a horrible take.
Pretty much everybody agrees that labor is necessary. Who isn't a right winger?
I just want to remind you, Mike, I've got some like pure sugar to inject in all of our viewers' veins at some point here.
Ooh, I love sugar.
Ooh.
I just cotton candy all day.
Well, all right, I'm warming up the veins.
All right, well, let's get a little bit of sugar from Means TV.
Keep up the good work, team, and don't forget our mission. We're scaling and disrupting the artisan cloth space. We're changing the way people think about burlap. We're iterating, we're ideating, and we're making an impact. Now listen up. Textiles will go from a precious, labor-intensive commodity to a convenient, disposable, almost worthless consumer product. And you, yes you, get to be in on the very bottom floor of this revolution. We're calling it the Bornheimer & Sons Textile and Lead Paint Corporation Industrial Revolution. Now look, as CIO, I'm very proud to show you what we've been incubating. It's called Company Coin. We know you hate traditional fiat currency. We know, we get it. That's why we're reimagining the traditional wage system. You'll be paid in money that you can spend right here in the Company Coin store. It has everything you need. Bread, water, and yesterday's bread. And participation is mandatory. So high five.
Beautiful.
Good Lord.
Beautiful. There's nothing new under the sun is, I think, the point of that. Is it in production stream? We have the sugar, or DMs, or where we got the sugar?
It's in topics. It's from the other day.
We're picking.
I'll repost it.
We're picking it.
Here you go.
See, that's the third different channel.
It's in topics.
All right.
I just reposted it.
The strange, nostalgic world of Obama-Biden fan fiction. All right, that deserves a title change right there. We're title changing. We're title changing for that.
This article may have simultaneously added years to my life and taken years from my life.
Sure.
I've actually seen these books in person. I've been thinking of like buying.
This is President My Boss, right? That guy?
Yes, this is Joe.
It's President Rap Rock Obama.
Yeah. And by the way, we are being joined by a friend of the show, Lucid Fox.
Hi, chat.
Great streamer. I would call him almost a Twitch mentor, showing me the ropes, protecting me from the pitfalls of that new creators make.
I just throw out knowledge, man. Like,
thank you, Lucid Fox.
We all succeed
man.
together.
Appreciate that. And you know, you've been a bro, so thanks for joining our Brocialist collective.
Yeah.
The strange, nostalgic world of Obama-Biden fan fiction. Yes, it's a thing. If only it weren't a total fantasy. Okay. Those who choose to live in clinical denial, ahoy! This is a no-judgment zone in which you will be urged to forget the current American president's name and instead enjoy escapist fan fiction about Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Yes, there is such a thing. Past presidential fanfic masterworks like Kim Jong-Elmo versus Dick Cheney and George W. Bush, thinking lapis lazuli, I don't know how to say that, might have been relegated to online speakeasies. But so great is the nostalgia di Obama that new books about Barry and Joe are bringing fanfic's nerdy tropes into the light of day in print. Parodist Andrew Schaefer has just launched a new entry to his enjoyably ludicrous Obama-Biden series, which launched last year with Hope Never Dies, and features the duo solving mysteries together. The second entry, published in July, is called, you guessed it, Hope Rides Again. Jesus Christ. Indie director Adam Reed's gonzo graphic confection, The Adventures of Barry and Joe, which styles Obama and Biden as time-traveling superheroes, was released this past spring. It is here to, if not save the day, then at least demonstrate the life-changing magic of putting our heads under the covers and pretending it's 2015. I respect you if you refuse to look back and entertain fantasies that Obama and Biden might return to deliver the republic from evil. Biden on the 2020 stump might wield Obama's name like a talisman to protect himself from criticism. But all sane voters know that Joe Barack heyday is never coming back. Oh my God, look at these covers! Still, tucking into the fantasies of Reed, a filmmaker whose 2020 film Hello Lonesome was a festival darling, and Schaefer, a novelist who teaches writing in Kentucky, I decided to tolerate and maybe even open my heart to the author's poignant nostalgia for Libmerica. It's a powerful thing to mark the difference between today's gruesome non-fan non-fic, in which the chosen one aims to delete China while annexing Israel and Greenland and escape back to the relative paradise known as 2008 to 2016. I mean, that's why Trump won, because people actually unironically believe that.
Yeah, like, this was just a few years ago. What are they nostalgic for?
They liked the fact that they weren't paying any attention to politics, and they just liked Obama occasionally doing speeches that they would see once a week.
It's encapsulated in the phrase, if Hillary won, we'd still be at brunch right now.
That's exactly right. They were at brunch the entire Obama administration.
Sure.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter that for the entire year of 2016, we didn't have a Supreme Court judge, and Mitch McConnell was laughing in Obama's face and telling him, "You will not appoint this Supreme Court judge."
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that from 2008 to 2012, the economic recovery was one of the slowest in American history. Like those facts and why Obama lost power, and why the Democratic Party ultimately failed to win again in 2016 against one of the worst candidates ever in Donald Trump, is encapsulated by the type of brain that produces this. And also,
that's a good question, Corodactyl. Well, hold that in your head.
Okay. Hope never dies. Can I point something out here? Biden is driving the car.
He's
what
driving
superhero is in the passenger seat?
He's driving the Trans Am because of the Onion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why is Biden driving with Obama? Like, Jesus. All right.
Also, shout out Tan Suit.
Yeah, the tan suit controversy.
Very good.
Alex John, they forgot the 2010 and 2014 midterm. Did they even vote in it? Do they even care? Oh, what do you mean? We had a historic loss of Congress, the state houses, the state legislatures, governors' mansions. Who cares? Obama's in the White House. Go back to brunch.
Oh, it hurts so much because it's true.
Now to Uncle Joe. Hope never dies. The first of the Schaefer mysteries, Hardy Boyle style, with a UA version of the Dashiell Hammett narrative voice, but goofy. I don't know what that means. I'm not literary enough to know what that reference means.
Young adult.
I know what UA means. I know what YA means. I mean the Dashiell Hammett narrative voice. I don't know what that means. Was released before Biden has announced his presidential bid, but the second, Hope Rides Again, came out not long afterward. Like many in Obama, Schaefer's Biden opens the first novel frozen in time just after the 2016 election, gorging on Ben and Jerry's.
Dashiell Hammett is the person that created Maltese Falcon, by the way.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Now I get it. Yeah. Now I get it. Yeah. Now I get it. This brother's Jill, Joe's wife. In both Schaefer novels, Joe and Jill and Barack and Michelle are comparable to lovable, forgettable CBS sitcom duos of a decade ago. Everyone loves Raymond and King of Queens. Oh my God. The mediocrity.
Those classic shows we all love.
Christ. The definition of like
Paul Blart.
Wow. If you had said the Flintstones and the Rebels, I think more people would get it.
the dude is a charming galoot, and the wife has his number. Oh my God. But the one real true parting here, let's not kid ourselves, is gonna involve Barack, whose communiques Joe initially awaits like a schoolgirl scorned. Oh my God, the cuck energy is just so much. After Jill was sound asleep, I scrolled through the old text messages Barack and I exchanged a lifetime ago, Schaefer writes. It was an exercise in futility. If I kept picking at the wound, it was never going to heal. Fuck. Biden mirrors the sulky American people. Is Barack Obama ghosting us?
You hate to see it.
By the way, he's not ghosting us. Okay, he's still in constant contact with the people he served while in office, namely big bankers. He's on a constant, non-stop speaking tour. Barack Obama is printing money.
Just bought himself a new house, yeah.
He's cashing in.
He's got a Netflix show coming out.
He's got a Netflix show coming out, and he's doing nothing but the paid speeches that damaged Hillary Clinton so much. You know who else cashed in on those paid speeches after 2016?
Joe Biden.
Joe motherfucking Biden. They've been doing that banker circuit of not bribes.
So
Barack Obama is not he's ghosting you. He's ghosting me because we're not paying him.
Remember when Obama basically convinced Beto O'Rourke to run for president?
Yeah.
Do you think all these former politicians on the speaking circuit, do you think maybe they started a union and that's why they get such high pay?
No. Probably, but in Hope Never Dies, he's not ghosting Biden. And after Encyclopedia Joe stumbles on the mystery of the murdered Amtrak conductor in Hope Never Dies, the Dem duo reunite to crisscross Delaware. An affair ago that leads them to find the mastermind of the opioid epidemic, because why not? It's not the Sacklers, FYI, because it's a fic. These fucking problematic insult and restraint.
I love how they can't even like have them go after like real bad guys.
Oh, you have to make up the fake ones, duh.
I now want to know what the mastermind was of the opioid crisis.
Well,
I want to know. I want to know everything about that.
We're gonna have to buy both of these books. We're gonna have to buy both of these books.
We will not buy them. We will pirate them. We will steal them.
We're gonna do a 24-hour charity stream where we read both of these books.
I would love to do that.
Oh my God, that's a really bad idea that I don't.
It would be really funny though.
I want you to imagine somewhere there's a Dollar General in the United States that has these books. Like, just imagine that for a second.
I see these books all the time. They're like at Barnes and Noble.
I haven't been to Barnes and Noble in years.
I'm looking at this comic book one, The Adventures of Harry and Joe, and this one seems way more funny.
Oh yeah, I'm into it.
Oh fucking Christ! I need to ask Lucid about why my chat freezes.
Why your chat freezes?
Oh,
on
the on-screen one. Oh, the on-screen one, yeah.
That's your Streamlabs.
Being a piece of shit, right? Is it just a piece of shit? Just a piece of shit. I should stop using it. Is what you're saying?
I mean, I use it as well. It just so what it does is it reads off of delay. Basically, it pulls your chat. So sometimes if they're it's pulling from the Twitch API, so sometimes it has a hiccup and doesn't. Especially considering more people use Twitch in the afternoons. So like mine never freezes up because there's not a heavy user load.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough. Where was I? Oh, okay. On the cover of Hope Rides Again, the sequel, Obama wears tan, as in an Ethan Hunt moment. He dashingly mounts a rope ladder to a helicopter, giving a hand to Trusty Joe. This choice, of course, expresses Schaefer's fondness for no drama Obama by reminding us that the right-wing pundits had nothing to make hay about in summer 2014 but the president's beige suit. In this novel, Joe is about to announce his presidential bid when Barack loses track of his BlackBerry. Warning, the nostalgia goes deep. Obama even smokes again, and the device's thief has been murdered. Off they go. Joe encounters thugs, a grenade, near disaster on an airplane, and he and Barack do, it's true, end up huddled together, arms twisted like a couple of pretzels.
Beautiful.
Did they write the scene where Obama tells Joe not to run for president because it'll be embarrassing?
But they're in a hole the size of a washing machine in the hull of a ship. By the time the police helicopter arrives for them, unfurling its rope ladder, they finished off the bad guys and are ready to fly away. Like Obama leaving the White House on January 20, 2017.
Wait.
He left on January 20, 2016, buddy. That's wrong. You need to you just fucked up your article.
No,
Not this
that's
fanfic.
Yeah, the election was in 2016.
Yeah,
he actually
that's
left
correct.
the presidency in 2017.
Oh no, you're right. I'm an idiot. Wow, what the fuck's wrong with my brain? Okay.
Are Joe and Obama doing fusion in one of these things? What's going on?
Few.
No. I think
Oh,
that's Trump. I think that's
fusion
Trump and
dance.
somebody.
No, I think that's Obama and a young Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they were both
God,
young.
they're so
and Joe
similar.
Biden
I can't
was-
tell the difference.
Yeah, it was back in
Right.
the 70s when Joe Biden was trying to keep Obama out of the white kids' school.
This stuff is wow.
I just had a Biden moment. Sorry about that, guys.
Things exist.
Oh, apparently that's how Obama and Biden teleport.
True
Of
fusion.
course.
I see.
Duh.
It's all. If all of this is high corn, there's some actual sweetness too. Schaefer clearly admires and somehow truly gets Joe's geriatric efforts to be cool, and especially cringily, down with the 44th president with fist bumps and yikes, even pseudo ebonics.
Hell yeah.
It's good that
for shizzle.
It's good someone finds that side of Joe charming. No, it's not good. That's a bad thing. It's white people. Oh my god, so bad. Reed's Adventures of Barry and Joe, the product of a Kickstarter campaign. Oh my god.
Why? Why did people donate to make this happen? There's so many other things on Kickstarter.
You could
oh my
donate
god.
to somebody's medical bill.
No, you don't do that on Kickstarter. You do that on
GoFundMe,
GoFundMe, yeah.
Oh,
Kickstarter,
yeah, that one.
Kickstarter is purely for nerd culture refuse that'll pile up in your house, like all.
yeah.
That's what
Tons of
Kickstarter is for.
garbage.
Yeah, it's
Do you
just
think
it's just
these-
trash, just garbage.
Do you think these people also got like a free Obama Funko Pop?
No, that would be something of value.
Would it be?
Okay. The product of a Kickstarter campaign is considerably skeevier than the wholesome Schaefer books. To clarify, none of this is slash. That's a blessing. Schaefer and Reed do not, I repeat, do not reprise entirely the Kirk Spock erotics from the earliest days of pre-internet fanfiction. In case you somehow dodged the 70s zines in which fanfic was first codified, slash were the sexy fairy tales, mostly by women, in which the fellowship expressed on the USS Enterprise tilted into loving tendresse and then sweetly, slowly into makeout.
Joe, take off your shirt.
Joe, on second thought, leave it on. Turn around.
No, I do have to know if this exists on the internet though. So I'll see.
I've got an update for that. Let's just keep going.
Presumably, Reed wants a bigger audience for his graphic novel than he's get with straight slash. Adventures is ultimately something called ampersand fanfic, meaning friendship, not romance, defines the Barry and Joe relationship. That's ship in fanfic speak. You DC squares got a lot to learn. At least the Politico author understands who he writes for. 100% DC people. No one outside of DC reads this trash magazine. But going back, continuing, and me, and Mike from PI, and flick that on my viewers. The people who stupidly show up to watch me, joined by Lucid Fox, Kentucky Fried Comrade, Dave from Jamaica, and other sundry moderators and community members like Space Ghost and Bra.
Yo.
Thank you guys for sitting through this, dedicating your Labor Day to reading Obama-Biden fan fiction.
Yeah, Supervillain says he got cancer watching Destiny. Well, now you're going to watch us talk about the Obama-Biden fan fiction, so good luck with that cancer.
But unaccountably, Reed still wants to see the former president and VP naked. So by panel number 7 of the chapter called True Bromance, they're drawn into a locker room, preparing to participate in a time travel experiment by stripping down to their briefs. By number 9, we're to full posterior. I can't say it. Posterior nudity. Joe, so you know, has the dusky rose busting at the seams body of a geezer strongman, Jack LaLanne.
Of course.
Oh my God!
Do you guys know who Jack LaLanne is? Zoomers in the chat. Zoomers in the chat. Do you know who Jack LaLanne is?
Who hasn't stayed up doing coke till 3 a.m.
Oh
watching
my God!
infomercials?
What?
Come on.
Okay. Jack
Give them a
LaLanne
picture.
is known as he would be a he was a frequent guest on like Morning America as like a 85-year-old strongman muscular guy. That's a TOS safe picture. Let me see if I can find one. Let me find one that's a little bit spicier.
He had his own set of appliances and everything too, right?
He's dead now. He died in 2011. Hold on. God damn it.
While you're looking for that update, I did go to Amazon to look up these books and how much they cost. Amazon just offered me $5 off of their already on sale price, so I can pick these up for a sweet $2.99.
Oh my God!
It's like, please buy these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lucid. I wouldn't recommend that you buy. Oh shit! Did I just? Okay. I don't recommend that you would buy a used copy of this one.
No, probably not. Hey, just stuck together.
It's like buying a used condom.
Also, after Andrew Schaefer authored these 2 books, he also authored Day of the Donald, and you guessed it, that's right. That's where Trump becomes president. So that's a thing.
So Barry, while also shredded, is only somewhat slimmer. Glutes have been digitally I can't even talk.
Diligently.
I can't even talk. Diligently attended to by the artists of this section. Wow. Joe St. Pierre of Marvel, Anwar Hamanu, Image Comics, and freelance illustrator Desi Senti. The Adventurers, which includes a grab bag of stories, aphorisms, and short plays alongside the graphic components, is very much a group effort. Oh my God. Disney, why? Why are you supporting these artists so they can spend their free time?
Read the next paragraph. You have to.
Oh, it's very good.
Before Joe and Barack disappear into a time travel vessel that looks like a KitchenAid made it, Biden says, Barack, I want you to know, I want a hug even though we are naked. Is that wrong? Barry, let's not. Joe, I'll see you on the other side.
Oh my.
Absolutely.
I want to hug you naked even though I'm not gay.
You know that whoever wrote that, there is like an unreleased drawing that was produced of those 2 hugging that just never made it into the book, but it's in like their private staff.
Well, scroll a little bit lower because I think we're gonna see something a little romantic.
Oh yes, I already see the top of it.
Uh-oh.
Our heart will go on. I love. Isn't it weird how Barack like frequently has like the more feminine posture? It's just so interesting. Much of Reed's scrapbook concerns madcap travel in the multiverse, and what could be a tribute to the late Mad magazine. The taste level is mad, also. In one of Reed's short stories, Joe returns to the 1970s, where he's considered to be retrograde in his social behavior, looks uncannily hot, and gets a chance to talk to his son, Bew, then 9.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They went there.
This is in such poor taste.
Yeah.
Oh god!
By the way, your brother's going to be dating your widow.
We tried to make them break up, but you know him. He was addicted to coke, so we don't want to make him too unhappy, you know. So we let him to go to town. I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, I have
smashed.
I have some good news and some bad news for you, Bo. The bad news is you're gonna die of brain cancer.
Shit.
The good news is that Hunter is gonna take care of your wife going forward.
Oh fuck.
Rest easy.
All right.
Let's just say her chance of getting cancer is going to be lowered.
Okay, let's read the next sentence. More than the nudity, this fictional resurrection of Biden's son, the real Bo, died of brain cancer in 2015, seems far too intrusive to even be campily enjoyable. I winced. Until that point, I'd been reading with the simmering notion that liberal democracy, now globally stifled, might come back to life with a new leader in 2020. But Beau Biden will not come back to life. Oh my god!
This is the best Politico article ever written. Best Politico article ever written, hands down.
Politico, you've outdone yourself, I think.
Oh my god! Oh no! He's not coming back. He's not coming back. Suddenly, the whole project of these wish fulfillment Obama fantasies seemed like nothing more than fodder for Trump ralliers to, as the t-shirt says, oil their guns with liberal tears. How in the world could I write about it? One false move. One mention in fiction that Obama and Biden in fiction are fictional witnesses to an imaginary gangland shooting in a work of fiction. And you might end up quoted with a straight face in some daft anti-Biden propaganda that ricochets all over the internet. While I could suspend solemnity for a few hours, in this current breath-holdingly paranoid climate, there's not enough oxygen for this much playfulness. If the Library of Congress shelving system were remade for our time, these fanfic works might be classified as WAF. They're meant to generate, as you got it, warm and fuzzy feelings. Those are the feelings most Americans still vaguely remember from 4 years ago.
No.
But we're forgetting, and before we introduce delusions about what might have been, we have an urgent challenge in the present, Trumpism, which can be stopped only with something other than naked cartoons. Thus, the Biden-Obama counterfactuals, especially because they're meant to be fun, leave me with the caps, cold and pricklies. Now, that's a phrase for the 70s that should be brought back.
So, Lucid Fox, you said on Amazon that this was like already $5 off and on sale, and it only costs like $2 to buy what I presume is a hardcover book, right?
No, that would be the paperback, it seems.
Okay,
yeah.
Paperback. It's still really cheap, which probably means that there are like warehouses full of these fucking books that are not
100%.
selling. See, that's the problem. That's the problem that Andrew has, because if you really want to make money with this kind of shit, you have to aim towards the Republican audience, because they're easily separated from their cash.
No. I disagree with you, bro. There are dipshits fucking donating to the Joe Walsh presidential campaign right now. Like,
yeah, never mind.
How would you characterize the Pete booty edge, or
So
whatever the fuck it is.
He's not getting enough money from his millionaire donors. I need to give him money too.
Like the entire
So, real
campaign
quick
is
here.
gullible lefty or gullible liberal dipshits giving their
You
money.
didn't even. It's like you didn't even
Holy
bring
fuck.
up. I feel offended that you didn't bring up Yang in any of this.
Oh, Yang is another thing. Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So real quick, before we move on from the Obama-Biden fan fiction here, I set my research team on this, and I'm not going to put this person on blast, but they did DM me a screenshot of a live, Joe and Barack / fan fiction, and I'm going to read the safe for work part. It's like only a couple sentences.
Okay.
Bracing.
Joe took Barack by his shoulders and threw him onto the sacks of coffee beans. You always like to play rough, the president remarked, a half smile reaching up his mocha face. Joe always loved that smile. Ready to play Democrat? Joe returned Barack's smile. Barack's face became playful, his chocolate orbs smoldering. Quote, I'm always ready to play. End scene.
All right, I had my finger on the server kick button. And if you said one more word, you were getting it. But you made it.
The only
You
detail
made
I will share is that they do refer to Barack Obama's genitalia as his disco stick at one point.
Obviously.
By the way, that's going to be a catchphrase. Whatever I'm starting the stream, I'm going to DM Kenny, ready to play Democrat. And
that's the activation. I like that.
That's the activation code. And if he ever says anything but yes, my what was it? Mocha
I'll
orbs?
always write back. I'm always ready to play with you.
No. The mocha orbs. I want the mocha orbs as the counter sign. Sure. Or whatever the phrase was.
If he answers anything else, you know he's been compromised. Yeah, that's smart.
Exactly. And frankly, like I literally did have my finger on the server kick button. That's not like I'm not doing a bit here. I was that scared.
I don't know.
Oh, just be glad I didn't read the whole thing. The whole thing is so much worse.
Yeah, there's a part where Barack says fired up, ready to go.
I'm always turned on by beam play.
I gotta tell you.
2Car subscribed with Twitch Prime. This is the type of content you can expect. Mocha orbs to you.
We got to get a mocha orbs emoji.
Well, if I ever make Twitch partner, I'll have like 30 emotes to fill or whatever ridiculous number there is. But,
So we have mocha orbs up there.
Maybe we should make that. Maybe I could make that my tier 3 emote, mocha orbs.
Bro, I'm gonna DM you the full screenshot.
Well, I'll start my own Twitch stream and we'll read the whole thing.
Well, good luck getting any viewers when you click the adults only button.
Yeah. We'll move it over to Chatterbait.
Oh man. Jesus Christ.
Obviously, don't read it. I just want to hear Brobra's reaction to reading it.
It's pretty good.
No, yep, the rest of the chat is no enticed. They must know what this is.
You are not enticed. Stop it. Stop supporting this.
Chatterbait.com/BroBrosama. Go over there, folks. We'll read the whole book.
The one thing I'm really disappointed is that there are no, there's no Lance and I slash, and there's no Hassan and I slash. Like, come on. Or at least give me ampersand with Hassan. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is such bullshit. Like, look at this. Somebody linked a clip. And from my last stream. The man knows how to look at a camera, am I right?
Yeah. Oh.
Look at my man looking at this camera. He got the smolder on, you're right. And he got that widespread collar. That really wide. It's widespread. He ain't got that tight little collar like I would have. He's got a widely spread collar.
I think you found it out. It's the white collar that pulls off the no tie look.
Okay, let's get back to it.
His online commentaries called The Breakdown have
All right, we don't, that clip's a little long, but it got all the good stuff. It got all the good stuff. That's beautiful. Widespread collar.
We'll write a buddy comedy book about you and Hasan one day.
I did indeed see that. It was part of the Hasan waiting room stream that we did for the day that he came back. We started off with that video. It's truly a masterpiece. It's truly a masterpiece.
I guess looking at the quality of the artwork, I'm just seeing like such a waste of good talent. I mean, did these artists enthusiastically draw this? Was this kind of a paycheck thing?
Well, if they're comic book artists, funny thing about them, they don't have a union, and they're willing to take any work they can get.
That's true.
It's a very sub-dom relationship with management.
Mike confirmed top. You know, I've heard recently that there's been a shortage of tops within the within that community. So I'm not sure though. You guys will have to report back.
Everyone wants to be a bottom.
I don't know. That's the rumor I've heard.
Yeah, we did see the Mike dancing with Hasan in 3 Arrows video. And it's really funny because Mike's head is photoshopped on a little kid.
That's beautiful.
Hey,
So
Mike, can you kind of tilt your head up and to the right for a second?
No. No. Mike, you're going hard for September and what? What did you say? I missed it. Okay. Mike, you're going in hard for September, so you're obviously a dom. Okay, well, hell yeah.
September's garbage now. It used to be good.
Wait, why is it garbage? What happened?
It's only for new subs. Like, it's not for like gift subs. It used to be when it first started 3 years ago. It was gift subs. Yeah.
What?
And now it's just like if somebody's a brand new sub to the channel, then they get half off. Yeah, September is not exciting.
I've always been a bigger fan of Domtober.
Oh, sure. I mean, Domtober's the best, or Switchvember. Like that's not...
Switchvember, yeah.
Yeah,
no.
it's okay, and the bits thing is cool, I guess. So Sam Cedar's gonna probably stock up and have like 1 million bits.
Sam Cedar, Colin, make sure you stock up. You know, Scott Princess, make sure you stock up.
Sam Cedar, tell me all your idiot things in chat, please. I'd love to hear like how Bernie bought stock in 1985 or something.
He's already been exposed. He knew.
Lucid, be gentle with Sam Cedar. He's like a top tier troll. Troll with effort.
He's not bad. Like his effort is good. I gotta say, as far as
It doesn't bother. It makes me
go.
laugh. It makes me laugh. So maybe I'm dumb, but you know, it doesn't bother me that much. So Lucid, are you playing? You're playing WoW these days, right?
I haven't started. Well, I started for like 10 minutes, so I'm getting there. I need to level up. Is what I need to do.
Okay.
Don't worry, you'll soon be an addict like the rest of us.
There is no boosting in vanilla WoW. It's only what you earn.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm like sad about, because I remember 15 years ago what it took to get to 60.
Yeah, you know, I've put in a nice chunk of hours since it came out.
Yeah.
I think I'm like 27 or something like that.
Ooh.
So but I'm rolling the best class. So you know, it's easy. It's a joy to level.
Sure.
I'm there to experience that joy every step of the way.
We're Horde, by the way.
Oh, you're Horde. Okay, so are you? Wait, you said best class Horde. Then you didn't roll Warrior's face roll. So I would roll. I did roll Warrior, but I would imagine.
No, I'm a Warrior. Don't roll
Warrior.
Warrior.
Oh, okay.
Roll Mage.
Okay.
Roll Mage or something. Come on.
I already no. I already rolled a warrior.
You said you were doing 10 minutes. Come on, Lucid. What are you doing?
I mean, yeah, I could make a new character and do something else. But if I roll mage, that means I have to like sit in the middle of Baron-Geddon and explode everyone.
You know, you can be a 3-minute mage.
Roll. What do you got? Mage would be pretty sweet.
Hey, Mike, I made you something in Topics channel.
Okay.
Might want to bring this.
All right, let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm re-rolling. I'm just gonna go hunter with engineering.
We want you to roll a mage because we need.
Oh, this
bags.
is beautiful. You do need to edit the corner. So instead of an Obama Biden mystery, it needs something.
Oh shit.
It's beautiful, man. It's everything I want. It's everything I want.
You gotta show it on video.
I did. I showed it.
Ah.
Oh, beautiful. There it is.
Hope Rives. So.
Just some tweaks and we'll fix it. Like we take off the tie off of HASAN, then it's perfect.
So
that is true.
Yeah. Mages are great at redistributing bread. The leftist class. That's true.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
I went green. Orc warrior. Obvious. Eugene Debs is my name. I'm battling for wherever. As Eugene said, this is what he said when he was created. Hold on.
Oh, we're linking it back to Labor Day. Yeah.
Oh, we are. Okay, hold on. What the fuck? Why can I not find this quote from his trial?
I love our chat here. Give us on 5 rings.
Christ. Who would roll Alliance in Classic? That's crazy.
All right, I fixed it enough so now it says HASAN and Mike Mystery.
Oh,
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Those shop skills, baby.
This is what
100% pure MS Paint skill right there.
You know,
Kenny's very impressive for on the fly work.
Damn, I probably could do one that looked really good, but I don't know if I want to on Labor Day.
Good point.
Oh, okay.
Work on Labor Day. Come on.
I might work on one.
You feel inspired?
Okay, you got it. You made me click it. You got me to click it.
Oh my god, what is?
Where'd you post it, bro?
No, I might work on one, but like I get the feeling like if I make one, you're gonna be like, no, I'm not showing this on video. You're gonna get me banned from.
Well, then don't make it out of an explicit picture.
Well,
Jesus.
you guys can all see it if you join the Discord.
I did do one of Mike's parent hair emergency.
Oh yeah. I did see that. All right, here he goes. This is Eugene Debs' statement to the court upon being convicted of violating the Sedition Act. So Eugene Victor Debs, a famous socialist, presidential candidate, was convicted of sedition because he argued against U.S. entry into World War I. And many left-wing people who were anti-war were arrested and convicted. Some of them given life sentences for protesting the war. Mm-hmm. Have you guys ever heard the phrase fire in a crowded theater?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a First Amendment right to freedom of speech, except you can't use fire. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. Right? Well, that was a very famous case called Schneck v. United States. And that case was a freedom of speech case. In World War I, socialists Charles Schneck and Elizabeth Blair distributed leaflets declaring that the draft violated the 13th Amendment prohibition against involuntary servitude. The leaflets urged the public to disobey the draft, but advised only peaceful action. Schneck was charged with conspiracy to violate the Espionage Act of 1917 by attempting to cause insubordination in the military and to obstruct recruitment. They were convicted of violating this law and appealed on the grounds that the statute violated the First Amendment. And they were sentenced to life in prison.
Ooh. Oh boy.
In a unanimous decision, 9-0, they said that the free speech clause of the First Amendment does not shield advocacy urging conduct deemed unlawful under the Espionage Act. And that's where the concept of fire in a crowded theater. So basically they analogized peaceful protest against entry into World War I or resistance to the draft as screaming fire in a crowded theater. Well, do you know what happens if you yell fire in a crowded theater? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. Nobody panics. Nobody screeches and screams. Nobody runs out of their seat like maniacs. Do you know what actually causes those things? When there's an actual fire. That's what causes the panic. It's when the smoke and the heat and the feeling of claustrophobia, that's what causes a panic. Not the screaming of fire. That's just nonsense. It's a lie. And it's based on an analogy that's not even true. In order to prosecute lawful political speech, and they weren't advocating for violent insurrection, peaceful protest. This is what people in America, that's the real history of America, right? You never hear these free speech warriors shrieking about this case. It's always about making sure that Nazis can advocate for the genocide of, or march in Jewish towns. And eventually Eugene Debs, who was the Socialist Party's candidate for president, where he received millions of votes, was convicted of violating the Sedition Act for much the same way, of urging people to resist America's entry into World War I. And he has a really famous speech that on Labor Day, I'd like to read, if you guys don't mind. It's not that long, but I think it's worth doing. Your Honor, years ago I recognized my kinship with all living beings, and I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then and I say now that while there is a lower class, I am in it. And while there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free. I listened to all that was said in this court in support and justification of this prosecution, but my mind remains unchanged. I look upon the espionage law as a despotic enactment in flagrant conflict with democratic principles and with the spirit of free institutions. Your Honor, I have stated in this court that I am opposed to the social system in which we live, that I believe in a fundamental change, but if possible by peaceable and orderly means. Standing here this morning, I recall my boyhood. At 14, I went to work in a railroad shop. At 16, I was firing a freight engine on a railroad. I remember all the hardships and privations of that earlier day. And from that time until now, my heart has been with the working class. I could have been in Congress long ago. I have preferred to go to prison. I am thinking this morning of the men in the mills and the factories, of the men in the mines and on the railroads. I am thinking of the women who for a paltry wage are compelled to work out their barren lives, of the little children who in this system are robbed of their childhood, and in their tender years are seized in the remorseless grasp of mammon, and forced into industrial dungeons, there to feed the monster machines while they themselves are being starved and stunted, body and soul. I see them dwarfed and diseased, and their little lives broken and blasted, because in this high noon of Christian civilization, money is still so much more important than the flesh and blood of childhood. In very truth, gold is God today, and rules with pitiless sway in the affairs of men. In this country, the most favored beneath the bending skies, we have the vast areas of the richest and most fertile soil, material resources in inexhaustible abundance, the most marvelous productive machinery on earth, and millions of eager workers ready to apply their labor to that machinery and to produce in abundance for every man, woman, and child. And if there are still vast numbers of our people who are the victims of poverty and whose lives are an unceasing struggle all the way from youth to old age until at last death comes to their rescue and lulls these hapless victims to a dreamless sleep, it is not the fault of the Almighty. It cannot be charged to nature, but it is due entirely to the outgrown social system in which we live that ought to be abolished not only in the interest of the toiling masses, but in the higher interest of all humanity. I believe, Your Honor, in common with all socialists, that this nation ought to own and control its own industries. I believe, as all socialists do, that all things that are jointly needed and used ought to be jointly owned. That industry, the basis of our social life, instead of being the private property of a few and operated for their enrichment, ought to be the common property of all, democratically administered in the interest of all. I am opposing a social order in which it is possible for one man who does absolutely nothing that is useful to amass a fortune of hundreds of millions of dollars, while millions of men and women who work all the days of their lives secure barely enough for a wretched existence. This order of things cannot always endure. I have registered my protest against it. I recognize the feebleness of my effort, but unfortunately, I am not alone. There are multiplied thousands of others who, like myself, have come to realize that before we may truly enjoy the best blessings of civilized life, we must organize society upon a mutual and cooperative basis. And to this end, we have organized a great economic and political movement that spreads over the face of all the earth. There are today upwards of 60 million socialists, loyal, devoted adherents to this cause, regardless of nationality, race, creed, color, or sex. They are all making common cause. They are spreading with tireless energy the propaganda of the new social order. They are waiting, watching, and working, hopefully, through all the hours of the day and night. They are still in a minority, but they have learned how to be patient and to bide their time. They know indeed that the time is coming, in spite of all opposition, all persecution, that this emancipating gospel will spread among all the peoples, and with this minority will become the triumphant majority, and sweeping into power, inaugurate the greatest social and economic change in history. In that day we shall have a universal commonwealth, a harmonious cooperation of every nation with every other nation on earth. Your Honor, I ask no mercy, and I plead for no immunity. I realize that finally the right must prevail. I never so clearly comprehended as now the great struggle between the powers of greed and exploitation on the one hand, and upon the other the rising hosts of industrial freedom and social justice. I cannot see the dawn of the better day for humanity. I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. The people are awakening. In due time they will and must come to their own. When the mariner sailing over tropic seas look for relief from his weary watch, he turns his eyes toward the Southern Cross, burning luridly above the tempest-vexed ocean. As midnight approaches, the Southern Cross begins to bend. The whirling worlds change their places, and with starry finger points the Almighty marks the passage of time upon the dial of the universe. And through no bell may beat the glad tidings, the lookout knows that the midnight is passing, and that relief and rest are close at hand. Let the people everywhere take heart of hope, for the cross is bending, the midnight is passing, and joy cometh with the morning. So there you go. And by the way, this was in 1918.
I was going to say, too bad this is 100 years ago and we still haven't gotten there. One day, though.
It's 100 years ago. But notice social justice, racial justice. What other people in 1918 believed in equality of all men and women? And has anything really changed about, like, our productive capacity has grown thousands of percent since that. And yet working men and women have gained no more of the share. Our wages are stagnant. Life expectancy going down. As we get more productive, we get less. Capitalism does not serve the interests of the many. It serves the interests of the few. And for those of us who want to see a better world, we have to organize in opposition to those that would concentrate all wealth in the hands of few. And they'll never, it doesn't matter how much profit they make. I mean, how rich is Jeff Bezos? Why does he need another billion? What's he going to do with it? If you ask him, he tells you, I have no idea. There's nothing I can spend the money on. There's nothing that all the wealth I own it can be productively used for for my personal utility. Yet he strives for more. Why?
Yeah.
There's a Eugene Debs documentary that was made by Bernie Sanders when he was mayor of Burlington that you can find on YouTube.
And by the way, you know, Eugene Debs, I don't agree with every single thing he said in this, but I take note of the sentiment and the year that it was given. And what was he prosecuted for? Protesting peacefully World War I. The war where millions of people were slaughtered for no reason. Nothing was being contended to of serious import to the lives of those people that were ground down into nothing. It didn't end all wars. It didn't solve the problem of nationalism and profiteering and warmongering. It was useless.
Well, it's time to burn your entire chat down, Mike.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
somebody's writing
somebody's created
some
a new
slash
fic.
Time to fucking burn all of it down.
I mean, I'll read it.
Oh no, we can't.
This might be a good time. I finished my Photoshop.
Christ.
Yeah, you might want to bring that up.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, guys. I don't know. I don't think I can read that.
Mike gently pushes
when I say mean,
the pile of sacks of Turkish coffee beans.
I mean anyone on my. Okay, server muted.
Christ.
Are you ready to play Democrat? Mike whispered.
Liberal Arkanoid? Jesus. Disgusting.
That's a beautiful copy. I'm so proud of you guys for that copy pasta. Thank you. I love it. I'm never going to read it out loud. Well, I mean, not right now.
While you were like reading out that beautiful
Deb speech?
Yeah, that beautiful Deb speech. Somebody was working on that.
Of course. They're like, yeah, this is great and all and touching, I guess, but
oh god,
disgusting. It's Labor Day and I need to go make some burgers. That's my life.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna stay on super late tonight. I wanted to do a really great stream. We'll probably stick around for a little while longer, but I know you guys want to probably spend some time with your loved ones. Have a nice Labor Day dinner. Thanks for stopping by, Lucid.
Yeah. Always fun.
I think I'm gonna probably do that. Unless you guys have more stories you really want to cover.
Not much. I just want to mention it looks like the General Motors workers are preparing to go on a wildcat strike.
Nice.
Oh, sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing like whispers of it on Twitter. Contract negotiations are breaking down, and the Department of Justice just raided a number of UAW leadership.
Oh yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, and so it's looking like the General Motors plant workers are preparing to go on strike.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get some good concessions and annihilate the two-tier system, because the boomers of the UAW decided that millennials should be paid a different rate than them, violating the principle of solidarity.
Yeah, there's a pay difference between pre-bailout and post-bailout workers.
So why don't we? Okay, where'd you put that? Caffeinated lib. Where'd you put that?
All right, you guys have fun. I'm making burgers.
All right, peace, listen.
See ya.
See ya. Okay, when you say you put it in Discord, where'd you put it? I guess I'll just check every channel.
General chat.
General.
Oh,
There's
okay, cool.
also another funny Photoshop from Tungsten.
Oh, well, let's wind down.
Fucking literally the dream. The guys are just like playing backgammon all day, and then they fucking come home at night. Fuck, I love this so much. I'm a hoe, dude. Okay.
And I
just
put
want to
a
be a
fun
fucking
little video
relentless hoe.
in the
Okay.
topics channel.
I want to be a thirsty bitch. That's me. Okay. We need matriarchy. I want to just sit around, jerk off all day, and have people take care of me, and I'll just thirst trap. This is great. I want to be like the uncle, the fuck uncle. I thought that people didn't dislike this originally because they hadn't seen it. Now I realize, like, no, people saw it and they were like, oh, this is a better world.
But some women have had many walking marriages and have
fucking literally the dream.
Yeah, the matriarchy is the dream. The matriarchy is 100% the dream. Communistic compulsive masturbator admits how lazy he is. Holy shit.
I like this one from Tyler Wolf here. I am politically correct, so I say happy holidays on Labor Day so I don't offend the anti-worker Republican.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, on your way.
All right, this is
on your way to work tomorrow, instead of sitting around with your finger up your ass, look around. There's a union out there called AFSCME, and they're busting their balls for you doing a lot of shit work you take for granted. For example, we pick up your fucking garbage. We got broads out there who keep your kids from getting run over by some hard-on. We plug up the holes in the road so you don't fuck up your car. And we push around a lot of little old ladies from Florida. We're out there zapping rats and roaches and making sure your kids don't drink piss from no fucking water fountains. We're fucking AFSCME, Amalgamated Federalization. Hey, I don't know what the fuck it means. All I know is we're hard-working, tax-paying people like you, and we don't take shit from nobody. You got that, asshole? AFSCME, the fucking union that works for you.
Great union. I think Bernie was just there a couple days ago.
Mwah.
It was a couple weeks ago. Bernie was there. There you go. AFSCME's still there. Kicking ass.
AFSCME.
We kick up your fucking garbage.
Make sure your kids aren't drinking piss from the fucking water fountains.
We do this thing, it's called solidarity.
So beautiful. So, we're going to play it out. Play it with a song that I would like you all to sing. By Pete Singer. We started the stream. If you joined here late. If you joined here late, we started the stream with this, and I want to end this in honor of Labor Day. Great folk singer, Pete Singer, with Which Side Are You On? Solidarity forever, my friends. And I think we're gonna stream our friends. We're gonna raid our friends the serfs. Because, you know, why not? They're a beautiful, beautiful boy. So let's play it out with this, and then we're going over to the serfs.
More and more people are talking about the serfs. We love our serfs.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a union man or a thug for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? My daddy was a miner, and I'm a miner's son. He'll be with you, fellow workers, until this battle's won. Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Sing it! Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, workers, can you stand it? Tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab, or will you be a man? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Look, it's Santa Claus.
Come, all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell.
Of course I'm toned down.
Of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell. Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
All right, guys. Thanks for the short stream today. We all love you. We're not going to autoplay. And let's go over to the serfs.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to be probably heading out myself. Check out the new episode of In Too Deep. It's good.
You should join the Discord so you can
Join
see
the
my
Discord.
Photoshop. You can see my Photoshop of Mike and Hassan, and it's steamier.
Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow the Twitch. Subscribe with your Twitch Prime. And we'll be here tomorrow. All right. Thanks, guys. Short one.